Islam was those that are eating. Let's rise. Up. Sure. Yeah. Thumbs up. Yeah. 5 on the left, 2 on the right.
On the left, to the right.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth.
Truth.
Peace.
Peace.
Freedom.
Freedom.
And justice.
And justice.
Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide.
My guide.
And my salvation.
And my salvation.
By night.
By night.
And by day.
By day.
Through his holy prophet. Noble Juali. Islam. Islam. What?
Islam. Assalamu alaikum to all. I am Yoshua El-Sabir Abdullah Bey. I am a Moorish American. Islam.
Islam.
Everyone, I am Yoshua El-Sabir Abdullah Bey, and I am a Moorish American. I would like to take this time to thank you all for attending this Moorish meeting, whether you came from Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal. Your presence here is truly appreciated. At these Moorish meetings, we share love, truth, and peace with one another, and when we unite, we are supercharging each other. I'm honored and grateful for all the mentors in this room who have supported me throughout my journey. And
Speak up, brother, please. Speak up a little bit more volume, please.
I am honored and truly appreciated for all the mentors in this room who have supported me throughout my journey. And I would like to thank you all. And I am eager to give back to the youths and the future generation.
Wow.
All right. The theme of our Moorish meeting today is correcting Black history to a Moorish oral story. I hope that the knowledge received today empowers us all. And I have a few questions that I would like to ask you all to partake in. So we need 2 noblemen. If y'all, any volunteers? You just need 2.
Here we go, ready? Here we go.
Ready? You don't have, and you guys get 2 wise men if you guys don't know the question. All right. So who would you like to elect as your wise man to assist you on this?
Islam.
Who?
Islam.
Islam. Like Alfonso, Sheikh, don't matter. Rennie, you have any choice if you want. If you want, you can take it.
Our brother Alfonso.
Alfonso. You're gonna choose your wise man? Who would you like to choose as your wise man? Like you get 1 person to assist you. And, Shit? All right. So, first question, what is a Moor?
The Moor is about peace and love. And love one another and treat one another fairly.
Great answer.
Yeah.
Islam.
A Moor?
Yeah,
Any
what is it?
dark-skinned person or any melanated person or being, one originating or descending from the ancient Moroccans or the ancient Moabites. So,
Gentlemen, speak up, please.
a Moor is any dark-skinned person. Well, this is my opinion. Well, not my opinion, but this is what we should all know. Any dark-skinned person, right? Any descendant from the Moroccans or ancient Moroccans, ancient Moabites, right? Simplified answer.
All right. Islam, both questions are accurate. We are people of love,
Right.
and truth and peace. Right? Next question, what is a nation?
Nation is any sort of or political or jurisdiction of people grouped in a political body.
Yeah, we need some volume from the people at the front, please.
A nation would be a standing and where a certain group of people or political people would hold a body politic, right? Or compile a group of people geographically in one location.
Okay. On the same page? Yeah. What is a constitution?
Before you go on, I just wanted to add from the Black Law of Nation again, just to support Brother Reddy here. So a nation, a people or aggregation of men existing in the form of an organized dual society, usually inhabiting a distinct portion of the earth, speaking the same language, using the same customs, possessing historic continuity, and distinguished from other like groups by their racial origin and characteristics, and generally, but not necessarily living under the same government and sovereignty.
Thank you, Lord.
Right.
Yourself, right?
Even the more it's on the chat, if you guys know the answer, you guys can join in and partake. Right? Where did our Constitution come from?
Well, before the Constitution was a tree, were treaties, right? And out of the Constitution, our foremothers and forefathers are the ones that signed on to it. Well, where did it come from exactly? The question is, our foremothers and forefathers. They're not for us, but they're to protect put them in check, or the foreign colonizers in check. Right? All right. My nobleman, can I get your assistance on that?
Well, okay, we're gonna ask, first question I would ask is which Constitution you're referring to. We do have the Constitution for the United States of America Republic, right? And we have the Constitution of Noble G brought forth our constitutional bylaws for our Constitution, for ourselves. Yeah. So first thing I would ask you, in terms of the Constitution that's being used by the so-called colonial government out here, that came from the law of the Great Peace that was brought for the Iroquois Nation. We will research that. And so basically it was based on the principles that the Aboriginal Indigenous forefathers with us had laid down. They had their own law. So they say that the Constitution was framed. So the principles were already there and they just basically framed it. So they took principles and basically adopted it and then presented it as their own in a way. So that's what I would say to that.
And then our ancestors signed it to.
You're speaking of, well, yes, I think was there like a certain amount of Moorish and a certain amount of Europeans were at that when that was signed? Is that how the I think there was a certain amount of Moorish and a certain amount of Europeans that were there when it was signed. It was something that was done in conjunction because it was set up so that both nations could live in harmony. Because the war had been going on ever since time between the Asiatic nations and the European nations, right? So that was set up to form a new world order in terms of we're going to go forward in a spirit of peace and friendship. Right? So those were based on the principles. Those are some of the principles.
And then our people look at that as if the Europeans and the Moors are in some type of relationship. And because the Europeans are seeming to be in charge right now and doing whatever to our people, that the Moors helped that happen. When really the treaty was to stop the war that was going on between the Moors and the Christians, so that everybody has their section. They have their 13 colonies, they were supposed to stay there. We have the rest of the land to do whatever it is that we need to do as the Aboriginal and Indigenous people.
Right. All right, thank you. Next question. Who is on the cover of the 101 questionnaire?
Noble Raleigh. Caring a woman, which is humanity, uplifting humanity.
Right. When is the birth date of Noble Raleigh? Can you guys hear me in the back? The birthday.
January 8th, 1886.
1886, accurate. Who are the Americans?
Well, American is a noun, and this was originally applied to one of the various copper-toned people found here on the continent by the European. But for us, we're, this was last class actually, I think, we're Moorish Americans, like we're not just Americans, right? Moorish Americans.
Right, so the original application of the word meant, just like Brother Remy said, was the Aboriginal indigenous people found on the continent by Europeans. And then later it was used to refer to descendants of Europeans born in America, in terms of what American is. But American would be anybody, that's indigenous to this continent, from tip of Alaska all the way down to Peru and those places, Venezuela and all this stuff. What's at the bottom there?
Chile, yeah.
So Mexicans are Americans, just like the prophet said.
Right.
From Bolivia would be Americans, not just the U.S.
Yeah. All right. All right. That brings me to the.
Oh yeah, and Canada too.
Yes.
Especially Canada.
People,
Right.
people in so-called Canada are also American.
Yeah.
That aren't European.
Islam.
So my question then is what's the difference between Moorish American and is there such a thing as Moorish Canadian? Is one de jure and one sort of, which is more exact?
I was gonna answer it, but Brother Sheldon's working on a common sense wiki for that.
Oh, okay.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned for the Canaanland Moorish page for Brother Sheldon's common sense wiki on Moorish Canadians and Moorish Americans.
All right. Thank you all for partaking in my questionnaire. Islam.
So,
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, bro.
Great job. Thank you.
any volunteers watching? Great. Any volunteers? Just keep your eyes. Yeah, you sweating under the lights there. Poor brother getting all cotton mouth and shit.
Peace, Morris.
Wow.
So part of the presentation today just had to do with going through some of the red book, which is the Mysteries of the Silent Brotherhood book. Because we were on the way up here, we were talking about the whole idea of the Moors get into this information and the physical and the spiritual aren't lined up properly before they start exercising certain things. So part of us coming into this information is for us to detox out of where we're coming from, because where we're coming from is filled with a lot of things that doesn't really match with where we're going. But then if we carry that luggage with us, we're gonna have issues later on, right? So we're gonna go through the chapters dealing with the Brotherhood test, the test that Yahushua had to go through in order for him to find himself, right? Which again goes back to the individual proclaiming their nationality, saying that I'm a Moor. Your experience in this now is what's going to be measured, right? How you deal with situations, like the Moor just did the trivia. How in situations of adversity are you going to respond to whatever it is that they're doing, right? And what we noticed over the years is that the response is too much from the physical perspective. that I have to give this paper, or I have to give this card, or that I have to, put the thumbprint and sign through the thumbprint and then do all these things that once the spirit's right, doesn't matter what you do out here, it's going to be where it's supposed to be. But Omar, you have any interjection before?
My view on it, though, had also been from a different perspective, saying that we sort of carry ourselves as Moors here, from this perspective of, we've got this sense of entitlement. I don't see a lot of us really going out there and standing on being a Moor in a lot of sort of what I'd say non-defensive positions. We're only standing on being a Moor when they're coming at us. A lot of the times, we don't really, from my perspective, I don't see it. We as a group, as a nation, should be out there. Same way as I was saying, Cujo, these guys are sitting on some track and they're stopping rail and thinking people going from A to B, and then they're having meetings with people that we would like to sit down and have meetings with. How come we haven't been? They sat in front of her office, the Minister of Indigenous Affairs, and got a meeting with her. I'm saying these are some of the things that I think we have to start looking at. We need to start to be that squeaky wheel, because this is the problem that they all want to go away. As I said, I don't see us sort of living up to the physicality behind what we are really saying we are in the spirit. We're Moors. Well, then this problem should be fixed. Okay? So, anyways, that was sort of how I was coming at it. But his position is absolutely just as valid.
Yahshua receives the mystic name and number and passed the first brotherhood test. The master took down from the wall a scroll on which was written down the number and name of every attribute character, and he said, the circle is the symbol of the perfect man, and the 7 is the number of the perfect man. The logos is the perfect word, which creates that which destroys and that which saves. This Hebrew master is the logos of the Holy One, the circle of the human race, the 7 of the time. And in the record book, the scribe wrote down the logos circle 7, and thus was Yahshua known. The master said, the logos will give heed to what I say. No man can enter into light till he has found himself. Go forth and search till you have found your soul, and then return. The guide yet led Yahushua to a room in which the light was faint and mellow, like the light of early dawn. The chamber walls were marked with mystic signs, with hieroglyphics and sacred texts. And the chamber, Yahushua found himself alone, where he remained for many days. He read the sacred text, thought out the meanings of the hieroglyphs, and sought the import of the master's charge to find himself. A revelation came. He got acquainted with his souls. He found himself. Then he was not alone. One night he slept, and at midnight hour, a door that he had not observed was opened, and a priest in somber garb came in and said, my brother, pardon me for coming in at this unseemly hour, but I have come to save your life. You are the victim of a cruel plot. The priests of Heliopolis are jealous of your fame, and they have said that you will never leave these gloomy crypts alive. The higher priests do not go forth to teach the world, and you are doomed to temple servitude. Now, if you would be free, you must deceive these priests, must tell them you are here to stay for life. And then you will have gained all that you wish to gain. I will return, and by a secret way will lead you forth, that you may go in peace. And Joshua said, my brother man, would you come here to teach deceit? Am I within these holy walls to learn the wiles of vile hypocrisy? Nay, man, my father scorns deceit, and I am here to do his will. Deceive these priests, not while the sun shines. What I have said, I have said. I will be true to them, to Allah and to myself. And then the tempter left, and Yahushua was again alone. But in a little time, a white-robed priest appeared and said, well done. The Logos has prevailed. This is the trial chamber of hypocrisy. And then he led the way, and Yahshua stood before the judgment seat, and all the brothers stood. The Hierophant came forth and laid hands on Yahshua's head, and placed within his hand a scroll in which was written one word, sincerity, and not a word was said. The guide again appeared to lead the way in the spacious room, replete with everything a student craves. Was Yahushua bade to rest and wait. So the first brotherhood test. Anybody have thoughts on what they got out of that?
That's just the first phase.
Mhm.
I see it from the perspective that they're telling you that you have to go through a program to be a person to be able to sort of truly give judgment. And I think that a lot of us are suffering from that. And when people go out there and you tell them that you're a Moor, and then they want to give you this crazy look as if you're crazy or something like that. But yet they haven't done any of the research. And anyone who sort of sits down to do the research understands at the end of this that there's a problem. Either you're going to have to jump on board with we're indigenous, or you're part of the colonization process. And you know that there's always that road that you come to, where they're like, well, I don't agree with. What do you mean? What don't you agree with? We're Aboriginal. You're a foreigner, and that's it. But and then there's the other side of them that do agree, but then they don't really want to. They don't really want to come and get involved in anything, right? So it's too spooky, or too much for them. So that's what I get from that. That you need to do the program. You have to be the one to investigate to truly be able to know the truth.
So I love the truth because the truth is the truth, and the truth can never be can't be hid.
Right.
Because when I was a teenager growing up, and a kid, a teenager, and then when you do things and then when they're wrong, and they say, oh, we're wrong, we do this wrong, and that kid, I'm not on the same standard with it. They have 5 seconds before, and I really understand. So they beat me, and then when they beat me, they try and say, life is not a good thing. So I must speak the truth.
Yeah.
Anything to speak the truth and do the right thing when the truth is right for me, full of my heart.
Right.
Yeah.
That's love.
Yeah.
Right.
So I guess one of the things I picked up is it's like really in the walk itself, it's like you have to step into an arena to part of what the Quran says that you never know your strength until you go through battle. And really, one of the things that I picked up there is that you need to really step out, and it's like your eyes become open once you step out and see the arena that you're fighting in. Yeah. And really, once you step out and you go through what you need to go through, you look back and it's like you can't really believe that you underwent and you're still standing. Type of scenario, but really that experience no one can really take from you because it's yours for you to take to the next level or to guide those who are coming behind you in that. So it's a strength that you'll always have to be the guide, the light type of scenario.
So I was reading this chapter at the end. You got the scroll and the word sincerity. So obviously that was the point of that reading that you did. So the sincerity would come back would be just like this man was saying, be true to yourself. That's where sincerity begins. To be sincere about be what you are, do what you say you're going to do. And so sincerity is clearly deal with the truth of yourself and live in that truth. But not be a hypocrite. Something, if you're not down with it, it's just I'd rather you not be down with it and be yourself than say you are, you're not.
Mhm.
So, yeah, so sincerity, that clearly that was one of the lessons that our people need to be, to bring forth that. And when other nations see that we're sincere within ourselves, that as Omar was saying, not sitting on the fence, but actually putting your energy behind what you say you want to do or you want to accomplish, and actually doing that, being sincere about it. So that's a very important lesson. I guess that's what we started. One of the things we're trying to extol in that right.
This one. Anybody else? Any thoughts?
Feel free to speak up because we're all here. That's why we're here. We're coming together to put our energies together and try to figure this thing out. So if you have something we come to you.
Yeah, feel free to get it out.
All right. The 40 years, we can make true account for that. But my find said we gather or we congregate, we discuss, we talk, and we talk, but that's all that's happening. And like the one brother said, the native people go and physically move and have action from that. So again, I feel constrained to a point where we're having a lot of words, but not a lot of
Action. Yeah.
physically, because if I could even make it much more simple, I want to get up and stand up and say, what is our problem? How come we don't have these resources? I'm 64 years old. I'm a father born poor. I'm a grandfather born poor. And all the time you grow up people well off or wealthy. But yes, we're well off and wealthy. It's spiritual and love. But where's the physical world?
Right.
We don't have no building. We don't have no park. We don't have nothing. And we have to get one from Babylon all the time. And there's all kinds of barriers. And I think some of them times we make our own barriers. So
Yeah.
the foundation is there, but for some reason the seed's not planted.
Mhm. Well,
That's
what?
the great thing about the prophet bringing this, because he brought us back to ourselves. Like, as you say, like unity, before we can do anything, you notice, when you see the people moving out there, they're unified. They have knowledge of themselves, right? Whereas our people, we're still figuring that out. You understand? Like most of us here 10 years ago, someone calls us black, we accept that. Someone calls us a slave, we accept that. If someone calls us a ward of the state or a victim, we're gonna accept that, right? And all we gotta be the opposite of those things. We can't be a victim, we can't be a beggar, we can't be you know what I mean? We have to be ourselves. So our mothers and fathers were fathers and mothers of civilization. So we have a high standard. And I think if our people start trying to work towards that standard, then we can implement some of the things you're saying. But as long as we're thinking that we're less, we grew up where our mothers telling us, you gotta work twice as hard to get half as far. Why?
We have to go to the farm and find people like that.
Exactly. So
then but when you just sister like that, it's
That's a fiction.
We
Yeah.
need to deal with the science of mastery of self and mastery of Yes, man. Welcome, brother.
Peace, bro.
That's
Peace.
the problem. Yeah, man. Come on in. You talk your own speech anywhere you can. We're talking about how we can get from talk to action in terms of uplifting ourselves as people and dealing with unity. How we can unify. We all come from different walks, so-called different countries, some of us speak different languages, but we sure have, when they see us out there, they're judging us as one people. Right? They say, look, those black guys, those niggers out there, whatever, right? So what can we do? And that was the great thing about the prophet bringing this information to show us that we're a nation, and to look at it from he brought us back national principles. And I think that's one of the things that's missing from our people, why we always find ourselves in the so-called underclass of society, because we haven't really grasped what it is to have what the national principles are and how they relate to us as a people,
Good.
So one thing I learned in life is that when I was a teenager growing up, when I born and I was growing up as a teenager, I was fooled. I was fooled and stupid. But now, and I was blind, and I was dumb. But now, I can talk, and I can see, and I can hear. And there is things have to change. Things gonna have to change. It started to change.
Mhm.
If you guys really notice it, things change.
Yeah. And we also have to put this out because we did a live stream yesterday that they blocked worldwide because we did a little class for Malik El-Shabazz because yesterday was his assassination, and the video got shut down on YouTube or whatever. But just right along with what you're saying, the reason why the progress hasn't been in an active place was because we had examples of what we're supposed to do. Like the brother brought up Noble Juali, that we had manufacturing companies and businesses and community centers and all that in the 20s from different, we had Black Wall Street and all that, right? Those are tangible things that we should have been holding on to, just like whatever company is saying 100 years ago we founded and today we're celebrating our 150th year or whatever. It's supposed to be the same thing that we're doing. The other example was El Hajj, right? Who they say Malcolm X said that we're going to start moving toward human rights instead of civil rights. Them going toward human rights would have changed everything that's going on with our people. From the church getting firebombed to soldiers in the street telling them just go or whatever like that, them getting their ass beat for protesting, for being violated or whatever the case is. Things were set up in place, and unfortunately, we had people on our side that were trying to undermine everything that we could do to be self-sufficient. And then we're looking at it today as if it's the European, why we don't have anything, when it's really directly our own people. And part of the active living that we have to be doing is the reason why we're here. The reason why Moors came from wherever to be here, because everybody's at that same place where something has to happen. You can't just keep, right? So part of this is bringing these people together who are going to start doing the active things. As far as the Ottawa region, right? We're in Toronto region. There's Moors there who are doing active things. If we go south and we go somewhere else, go to all different states, there's Moors in all these different places that are taking certain steps. It might be, standing up for some right. It might be going out and feeding the hungry. It might be whatever it is, right? There's something that's being done where people who don't have any knowledge about this could look and see and say, oh, wow, there's Moors there. Or like when we were coming up here, we stopped at the en route thing. And we're just out there chilling. And just a Hindustani man. Hey, I like that hat you're wearing or whatever. Come on, bro. This is a tarbush. Yeah, I know. I know. Yeah. So where are you from? Where are you from? India. You mean Hindustan? Oh, yeah, Hindustan. Yeah, okay, whatever. Because everybody knows what it is. The unity that we have is that we know who we are, just like the brother said. Once we know who we are and we start exercising as that, then we're going to get the response that we're looking for so that we can do active things. Right? And yeah, because that's the only things that we could do. There's nothing else. You know what I mean? And a lot of the issue is that the other factions are really what's slowing it down. The factions of our people who don't want to deal with nationality. Who last night they're gonna go do 21 gun salute and all this type of stuff for Malcolm X or whatever, but they're not trying to go to the UN. They're talking about civil rights. It's for the salvation of our people. When civil rights hasn't gotten us anywhere to date, that it should be time to stop and say, okay, well, yo, we tried with this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, going down the line from whenever they started civil rights to now. It's gotten nowhere. And then they're still going for civil rights to be where it's at. Somebody's playing around. And it's not European, because Europeans not pushing us to civil rights. All they're doing is saying, oh yeah, we're going to vote on that to give you guys some rights for the next 25 years or 50 years or whatever. And then they have their little puppets that are going to come in front of us and tell us some BS to make us go with the program.
Make the figures think it is right.
That it's right. That is for the benefit of us. Right? Yeah. When we're directly supposed to be moving away from those things into a place of where we can govern ourselves. That you know, you're looking at yourself as the regency or the embassy or whatever out here is what the perspective is of what this is. That is not meeting of the Moors. We came over here and then we're going to do a lecture and then everybody's going to clap at the end and then you just go home. Right? This is about bringing the pieces together so that something could be done here. So that we can say, okay, you know what, in our lifetime, at least I know, you could pull out your list of all the stuff that you did to assist your nation. You know what I mean?
Again, it goes back and keep coming back to nation, right? So when you see, Syrians just came here, Somalians just came here, Afghans just came here. When you look, they're setting up their communities, you know what I mean? They're putting their finance together, right? So that's another big thing. Like as you already say, it takes finance up with the nation. Are we willing to put our money together? We're willing to go to Stola, we're willing to go to Foot Locker, we're willing to spend money on all kinds of stuff. Are we willing to put our money to support ourselves?
Invest in our own.
And then to do that, are we sitting down and figuring out, whatever institutions we're trying to develop, or what, like if it's a credit union, are we gonna have a school? Are we gonna, have some community centers, some programs, what are we gonna do? Come together to do these things? Are we gonna wait for so we're gonna say the white man or the colonizer, we're gonna wait for him to come do something for us, or we're gonna actually do it? But before we do that, we have to come together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So this is what this is. This is us coming together. And like the brother said, after we come together now, okay, instead of just talking, let's see what can we do after we leave this meeting. Just like we were saying,
right.
What can we take? I know Brother Suleiman here, we've been trying to get together where we can start some kind of put our money together.
Yeah.
And in some kind of capacity, start raising some funds to implement this program, whether it's for the youths, instead of the youth going out and trouble downtown, we can have a soccer camp for them in the summer, arts camp, whatever it is. But like you say, so we are trying to, I know our brother Suleiman has been trying to set up a framework so we can actually put our money together. I was hearing that possibly you guys are going to get on a bus.
Well, I mean, it's a
right. But still, that's what we're saying. So if we had a bus, we would have had some more Moors coming up here today. But basically, it's us coming together and putting our money, not just our mouth, like you were saying, put our money together. We have no problem spending money on all kinds of whatever. Right? But when it comes to actually putting our money together to do something for ourselves, everybody's kind of like, they're waiting for the next guy to do it. They're waiting to see what the other guy on a bad wagon,
It doesn't have to be $20. $1, start from one. Every person give $1.
That's it.
Our grandmother always tell me, every little make a more.
When I walk this, I observe, and I can say, we need to change in the world like we want to. Anyone know this stuff?
Again,
I was like sitting here even before I said what I said. Said because I was thinking that exact thing. 16 people sitting in this session right now. For example. So I'm never there. I didn't see that. So it's nice. how will it be? All these people who put their $100 here and we're gonna buy that building. And the next time we meet these 16 or 20 people who will be accumulating this, because that is could be the change we want to see in the world. And so move forward. Because like I say, for 40 years, I hear a lot. I've gone many places and I see we have the same action. I've gone to 7 countries in the world. And we all have the same kind of reaction. And that's the detriment to our people and how to rise.
Yeah, but this is what we're saying with the whole thing of the power. The power is coming from the people having a nation. The power is coming from the people knowing that they have a nationality, not that we can call ourselves whatever we want and then we'll go out here and get whatever we're making a request for. Because they're not going to just give it to somebody who's not capable of handling what they're about to be given. So all of this is part of the growing pains that we have to go through, because we haven't until Noble Drew Ali, there wasn't somebody doing anything on a scale of us being a nation. Everybody else was taking an assumed position that we're a nation. Some people might say it's an Islamic or whatever. Some people might say it's an African. Some people might say it's a color. Some people might say it's a whatever it is. But that wasn't really a nation. That was just some stuff some guy made up, and then they push it in front of us to make us feel like we're part of that. And then, like you're saying, those 40 years that you've been hearing and just talking or whatever, we're realizing that all those things were done under these fake nations, that if we had put all that to real nation building, we wouldn't even need to be doing this right now. But that's the missing key. That's why, again, that we bring up Malcolm X, Al-Hajj Malik al-Shabazz, that his position was getting out of the black whatever status that makes us a slave, and us start being human beings, so we can complain as human beings and then get compensated as human beings, not as somebody's slave. Or because you're a slave, we're going to give you or whatever. That's not a fair trade-off. You know what I mean? And people knew these things. So when we go through certain people's information, you know, it's like, say we go back to Malik al-Shabazz and we read his stuff and we realize, hold on a second, all his speeches, he was talking about going to the UN before they assassinated him. That was his MO, that we're going to the UN to take our complaint to the UN and make our brothers and sisters on the continent who I already went and got contacts with to back our position that, yeah, these people are violating us. That's not gonna sit good with the people who have been saying that we're not a nation or calling us fake nations, because it means the end of them. They can't get any more check from Massa anymore if we say that we're a nation. As soon as we say we're a nation, now we have to handle our own affairs, right? Which again is why Nation of Islam handled their own affairs, because they were saying they're a nation, and they saw him as a traitor, and they dealt with him how they saw him, because they said they're a nation, and nobody else could deal with a nation's traitor but that nation. But they're not really a nation; they're an organization. They're not really a nation like that. Which again, is where they've been violating, because they're parading this around as if it's a nation when it's just an organization. And then all these people who are part of that know what nationality is, know what nation is, know what nation they're part of, and know that that's the salvation of the people, knowing what your nationality is. Like, again, if we use the example of all the other nations, like Alfonso was saying, same thing going on at Toronto. Everybody has a community. People who came here 2 years ago, they have a community. How they have a community, and then we've been here, and all we have is barbershop, restaurant, and that's it. Nothing else. And hair salon or whatever. And we've been here. And then people came here yesterday. And they have community. They have houses lined up. Only them coming out those houses.
Some of those people are coming in with finance. Some of those people who's,
Right, but there's plenty of us that have finance.
my parent came here to work and come here with no dollar in their pocket. Some guys come here with thousands of dollars. They talk on CBC all the time.
Yeah, but think about it like this too. When my parents came here, there were already some of their family already here, right? Everybody went and bought a separate house, right? At that time, 180 or less, right? Somebody from Asia or whatever come here, all of them live in one house, 50 of them, and pay that house off in a year, and then buy the one next to it.
So that's the question we need to ask ourselves. What's going on top of this is like that?
Yeah, that's because of our people.
Like for sure, if you look at
Right.
quote unquote dark skinned black people in America, US, whatever, we're consumers. We're the biggest spenders of anything. So it's not like we don't have the money. It's not like we don't have finance. We're buying $250 shoes. You got 5 youths, they're all getting shoes. People got money. They got rings, they got grills, they got whatever. It's just
$1,500 phone.
What we're putting towards their energy. And
That's true.
we start taking that energy and start putting towards national,
The things that matter.
developing a community, right?
Why is it always like that? Why? Because you have to look my parents, they will keep them because it's a mentality when them come up here. You know, like say you don't know better than that.
Right. No, for sure. For sure.
You can't shoot that man around the boy. Then we, as we are talking, we have to do. We have to show them and show them in a way how they can understand. As sometimes we are coming out and people too hard. And at one point, we was in their position. We was there as consumers.
Right, but which is why more so they should listen to what we're saying. Because we're coming from where you came from. We're not talking like we don't know what we're talking about. People look at it like Moors, they don't know what they're talking about. What do you mean? We've been through every school of thought. Anybody who's a Moor, they've been Negro, Black, Colored, African, Ethiopian, Rastafarian, Jamaican. We've been all the stuff, and nothing works. And then we exercise our little birthright a little bit. We realize that, damn, this stuff works. And then we come to tell them, and that ain't gonna work, and how's that gonna work, and well, I don't want to be Muslim and all this stuff. What are you talking about? We're not even talking about religion right now. We're talking about we're a nation. Go ahead, brother.
That's kind of similar to you having a business. They're going to support you, but then they're going to go support the other nations.
Right.
Other nations, like they all see that and then they laugh at us.
Yeah.
They don't respect us.
Yeah.
But they know if we come together, then
It's over for everybody.
And I asked my mom, I'm like, when you came here, what was the goal? You guys have any goals? No, we just came here to work. And I'm like, she didn't even think of, because you said like somebody bought property. My mom never even thought of buying property.
Right.
They just came here to work. They
Yeah.
just,
There's colonization.
right.
And there's some responsibility on their part, but there's also responsibility on our part for, we always use the example of Django movie, that he came in on the horse on the plantation or whatever, and all the slaves are just, then he took the slave master took his gun, shot him or whatever. Everybody just And then you just get, well, ish, you guys just gonna chill, then I'm out of here. Like I'm not staying around here with you guys doing the Negro stuff. You know what I mean? I'm not doing it. You know, the part in the end, got out the cage and all that stuff, dudes in the cage. Doors open. Guys just chilling. Cage is open for you to leave right now. No slave master in sight. Man sitting there.
Yeah, but at some point.
You know what I mean? Yeah, like you have to.
I'm just saying, it might not happen for the generation, the older generation, but certainly we start
With the younger ones, exactly.
Or, not so conditioned.
Right.
Right.
They're conditioned, but you can sort of, you can work with them.
Give it
They're
a
pliable.
seed that they
But
Exactly.
The older ones were so, those
Right.
love down there, they're not gonna do anything, you won't get anything out of them.
Right.
That's the truth.
can- Right. And
Well,
that's
then
why
just-
Riley said, this was for the young.
Young and unborn.
So it's important for us to get this to the youth. They're gonna know how to deal with it. They're gonna know how to figure it out. If we're old people, right? Not
Yeah.
myself, let's say, right? So, we're old people being, you know, we're looking at things from a different angle. When the youth starts, like a youth like Joshua, not to put you on thing, like he's a young youth, he's getting information. So there's no way someone's gonna tell him this and that, like, and he
Yeah.
can buy that. He's like, hell no. You know what I mean? So if we get this to the youth, it's gonna change for them. By the time like your daughter is, you know, adult age and stuff.
She already has it.
Principles,
She already has it already.
You gotta work twice as hard to get half.
Our
Nobody,
vocabulary is different.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
been young.
clearly, you
Yeah.
know?
And that's really where it would start. For us to change what's gonna happen starts with like there. Right? We're just the fertilizer for them to go. Yeah, go ahead, bro.
I'm thinking a lot about, knowing yourself and knowing your identity. And I find that it's also, it's not only like a radical thing socially, but it is also economically.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
when you see all of those nations, when they come here, they come here like 2 days ago and they already have like
Yeah.
a whole block, because they come here with a plan. They're all actually coming here to build a nation, and they know exactly what that nation is supposed to
Yeah.
look like.
Yeah.
Me, I'm from Quebec, and you see like those Quebecois people, every action that they make is a community building action. Even the language that they speak,
Mhm.
they refuse to speak English because they're a French nation.
Right.
When they're advertising, they're
Yeah.
selling you cheese and strawberries.
Right.
And they're telling you it's a product of Quebec.
Of our
Everything, every step that they take is towards nation building.
Yeah.
And you ask them where they come from, they know exactly where they come
Oh
from.
yeah. Oh
They're
yeah.
gonna tell you, oh, we come from this area, from France, and
Yeah.
from Normandy, whatever.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
They know exactly who they are.
Yeah.
And I feel that that's knowing who you are. Like if you sell that idea to the kids,
Yeah.
to the children, as an economical tool, it's it's gonna be
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Well, that's why the Quebec quads can do what they're doing because of our ignorance. But I'm talking about us as people, Moorish.
Yeah.
Because yeah.
Black colored people. Right?
Sure.
That's the reason why they can set up their community and only want to speak French in so-called Canada,
Yeah.
because of our ignorance.
Exactly. So they're just taking over.
They're just doing what they want to do.
Yeah. No, and again, going back to that thing you're saying about the knowledge of self, that anybody who's in Quebec who looks like us, that's really your land. And some people from France's land, like they're foreigners, pretending like they're from somewhere called Quebec. They're French. That's their background. They came over here just like any other European came over here. I don't know how good their stuff looks, that they're talking French and they got all the signs and like, wow, they did good for themselves to be here or whatever like that. All that is part of the same game that they're running with everybody else, saying that these provinces or these states are some type of, jurisdiction of Europeans that just happen to be over here, and you've been in the ghetto and you're not realizing you're in the ghetto because they stole your stuff. Everywhere we go, It's the same theme, right? So again, you know,
I was about to say something. I think we might really need to change the paradigm. Again, I make an observation while we were sitting in the lobby this morning. A woman came in, because it's something to me, I feel that is a problem. She comes in with her phone in her hand, which is the same thing we just discussed. And she went off a little. And there were three of us sitting, and she stood about 10, 15 feet away, and she waited. And I'm observing this person, feeling the vibe, and I think to myself, that person wants to know something. But she never approached us and asked us or even said hi to us.
Yeah.
But when the European guy cruised by, she called him and said, "Can you tell me where such and such?" So I was in Frankfurt, Germany, and I saw the same kind of behavior of black people. So are we afraid of each other? What is going on? We can't communicate. If I'm walking in the city and I see a black woman or a black man, especially if it's a black woman, if they ever try to look at her, she might just press my hand and get you locked up. It's my opinion, but it's happening. So I'm asking what is going on?
It's not what's going on, what has happened.
Yeah.
It's not what's going on is what's happening. What you just described, what has happened is back in the days, we were not allowed to associate with each other. There was always that divide among, and this is the colonizers. This is how they
Christian
describe
black
it.
codes.
But I'm telling you, when you started coming together, because I started working with the government back in '83, and coming together with another black person was a no. Okay, so that is where the divide happened. Anytime there's a congregation of black, well,
We're Moorish, we can say it, we're Moorish.
dark-skinned people, there's always something to, break up the coming together. So so we're basically afraid of each other because of that. No.
Because of what would happen if we got together. Not we're afraid of each other. We're afraid because once we come together, what has happened in the past when we got together?
Exactly.
But now that we're educated and we're in the 21st century, we know different, so we're different.
What if we're educated?
Well, but people like you who know have to sort of do the reaching out most of the time. You kind of have to reach out and grab them in because they're paralyzed, if you ask.
You're right. The same.
Like when I see them in the hallway, I'm like, you looking for more? The average person would just go about their business.
I see her and so then already to follow them.
Right.
I see the picture downstairs and sit on the right place. And then it's just like a magnetic, like a charge.
Right, a vibration. Right.
The average person would do that.
But now the generation of the younger millennials, they're having a better time or a different time than back in our days because now they can get together and do whatever pretty much what they want. I mean, they have an energy that needs to be channeled into ears.
Right, exactly.
And they're calling it gangs, sadly, the schools. That's what I'm doing with my son. So when he gets together with his friends,
you see the negative. You see the negative that comes up.
it's bad.
And that's again why we have to get, okay, so you got the subs and you got the more. Right? So if they were presenting themselves in a more national framework, right? Like let's say they all went to school with their dreads on, let's just say, right? They ain't gonna be calling them no gangs.
Yeah.
They're not allowed.
Right? What's that?
They wouldn't. I mean, the school he's going, they wouldn't let him come with a headdress on.
Why not?
Even if he wears red, it's you're a gang. I had to tell them that's our color. That means royalty.
Right. Well,
and I had to tell them gang. First of all, means a group of people hanging out together don't mean nothing, criminal. If you check etymology of the word from the French, you guys are just changing this stuff up like you always do.
It's a negative that we want to. It's again the divided one to.
That's why.
My red turban on, and they're judging me. They're he's got a red sweater on. You got a red. Hey, you calm
down. The trick around that is to be in resistance.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Not to succumb to things that because we've been to that. We've learned that. Well, I've broken out of that, but I'm just talking about people of my generation. I've broken out of that. Mind you, I've gotten a lot of hit because of it. Okay. I speak my mind, I do whatever I want, you don't decide me, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I put myself where I wanna be, you don't put me where I wanna be. Mind
Right.
you might put a ceiling, yes, but I'll rise above it.
But now, what about so something like that with regard to what the elder is talking about the active things, right? Something like that
When we get
would be
together
something
again.
to pursue
Right.
as a body of people looking out for the young people. We've come together and we want to meet with the board because you guys are misclassifying, labeling, whatever, these young men who, you know, I know him and him and him and they're not in no gang. So we, as a community, right? The same way that the Sikh community is gonna, when they mess with a Sikh boy because it's turban, all of them gonna come together and they're gonna go rip some people to shreds because you're not gonna play around with our posterity like that. You guys do whatever you want with your children. When it comes to our ones, you're not playing that stuff. You know what I mean? So that could be one of the things, something that you put on the list. Okay, well, we need to, you know, either we all put our name to one writ that's going to the school board, superintendent, the principal of the school, principal of every school that any Asiatic goes to. Just let them know that, hey, we notice you guys are doing this, gang definition, and this is, you know, misclassification, this is discrimination. You guys violating charter, you're violating UN declarations, you're violating Either you guys stop these practices or whatever in writing, or, you know, we'll see you at the next school board meeting, signed by everybody who agrees with this. Send that to them, and then you wait for a response. And you're either gonna get a response, or we'll see you at the school board meeting.
So that's where, you know, the brought us teaching civics, right? And us getting involved in the civics of our community and our nation. Understanding the principles of civics, so that when we go to these people, we can actually deal with them from a perspective of civics and law as opposed to emotion.
To emotion.
That's what they're expecting from us. The screaming black man or the angry soldier.
Yeah, the angry black woman and all that stuff.
That's what they're always trying to position us into, as opposed to us coming from a lawful perspective, like you said, sending out to these people, to let them know we have a community. We don't like how you're labeling us or treating us, so we want you to address such, and actually, implementing these things,
Yeah.
But are we that organized?
Well, we better get organized.
Yeah, I mean, that's all part of the, yeah, that's.
So us coming together here is a form of separate organization. You know what I mean?
Well, it doesn't have to be done in a group, individually, your action and create like something like, other Moors around you, you know what I mean? So it doesn't necessarily always have to be, always all of us correct. Remember, it's I saw one master.
Yeah, but I mean, if you were act collectively, it works better.
Yeah.
Right? But if you can't find people that are ready to do that, you might have to act unilaterally, like you said.
Yeah, you have to exercise your right and stand firm on what you believe in and what your goals and what you want to happen.
Yeah.
Not what they want to happen, yes. But when you stand alone, they try to beat you down.
Yeah, to be you down.
When you stand collectively.
Right. So when you go back to collectively again, you're talking nation.
Yeah.
You're talking a nation. So what's the nation? Well, we're the Moorish nation. It's here, it's evidence. I'm looking at it.
Yeah, it's evident.
But how, when we leave this room, are we going out there and seeing ourselves with that, or are we seeing ourselves some black guys out there?
We have to know about all breeds, and we have to
Yeah, yeah.
when I go on airplane or trains or buses or wherever I go, I see different kind of promotional, I'm gonna call it tactics that they use.
Yeah.
So I'm putting it, because I said it, all the other black people who are afraid of us, we need to promote to them that, hey, we are your kin. We are this living.
Right.
We cannot work without, we need fingers.
Yeah. But that's the same thing that you're saying though. That
We need to
everybody,
promote to those black people who are afraid of themselves.
right? But that's only gonna be done by people who know. people who don't know aren't gonna promote. You know what I mean? So
Voting first off to make sure we have something.
Yeah,
On the
for-
bus or something.
Yeah.
In this snap city.
But again, it's
so
the same.
these people will see
It's
that.
the same thing like you're saying. Everybody put up 100. Everybody put up 100. Everybody put up 200, and then you go rent the spot just like anybody else is doing. The only difference is that they're getting some bank loan or something like that for their advertising budget or whatever. Why they could do that? All we gotta do is say, okay, you know what? No, for the month of March, no half quarters. Every time we're gonna buy a half quarter, I'm gonna put that over there. And at the end of that time, half quarter of weed or half quarter of whatever. whatever you spend on, alcohol, whatever you spend on, shoes, you know what I mean? Pomegranates, whatever it is, you know what I mean? Putting that aside so that we can have something to put in the pot. You know, everybody put away for their half quarter, everybody put their stuff together, you have something.
But you're gonna have to give us a coping method, that's the problem, because the price we pay for coping in this shit of madness and what goes on. I personally, for example, I smoke weed when I smoke weed. I don't drink the booze. When I smoke weed, I'm gonna calm down and chill and say, yeah.
Right.
So if we don't get off about that, can you tell us something?
Yeah, it might be a dime. It might be a dime and pinners for the month. Like that's me somewhere.
Our press, right? The greatest weapon, according to what Noam was saying, was that our greatest weapon is in our press. Okay, so we look around. Do we have a press?
Yeah.
Do we have anything that these youths can read and see, that anything that we're putting out? Remember, they're making a claim. These guys are black people, they're thugs, they're criminals, whatever. And every day, you know, in the media or the movies, everything, there's negative images of our people at all times. That's what it is. They're showing the people foreigners coming here. That means we need to put out something that's showing a positive image of Spike Lee, right? No, we need to beat Spike Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can do it. I mean,
Yeah.
Netflix will take anything at this point.
I'm sorry, brother. I know
In
you.
general, we don't even have our own media in general, so that would be one.
Right. That's an aspect, right? And again, with where it is right now, media is a vast thing right now. It's not limited to newspapers or flyers or whatever. Media is vast right now. You know what I mean? Social media, all types of different types of media. You know what I mean? But even if you wanted to stay on the level, you know, because everything costs money as far as making something like a website or whatever like that run, you could do things like flyers, newsletter. You know what I mean? That's just a Word document.
Right.
Everybody got Word on their computer. And hey, you know what I mean? But once you have something that's your own media to say here, right? Because again, we've done, for example, the thing of go on the street and whatever. And most times you just get blended in with the BS that's out there. So it's not really feasible. That's how we know that these people are playing around when they say go out there with the loudspeaker and march and picket or whatever, because that's not really amounting to the people getting out of any type of situation. You know what I mean? That's just prolonging the inevitable.
But it's just like the Nation of Islam, they have their press or paper,
Yeah. But again, they
sell to everybody.
right. But again, too, like, you know, it goes back to that thing that as an organization, it's not like they're coming with nothing. Just like we're saying with the people from other countries, they're not coming here with nothing, right? And why they've been sitting on millions. They didn't just get millions yesterday or just had a paper yesterday. They've been had a newspaper, you know. But the things to be done is going to be done by those who are competent and are willing to sacrifice and put in the time to get certain things done. That's just what it is. Right?
So when I hear the bus, every morning I go to school and we go on the bus, and the first thing we see on the bus when we sit down is on all advertisement and then on the side,
Mm.
this side, over that side, and it's all different. And that's what we want. You have to have that, you have to take it in the bus. Because people travel on the bus, mostly, and a lot of people, and then you look and you will see. Then my another one is that I say that my grandmother said to us, every little make a more. And I notice when I come home from school or if I'm out and I come home, I have a little thing like a little glass thing here.
Right.
I take a change amount of
Just throw it in there.
and the next thing, in no time, you full up.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So every little make a more. If you put $1, you come, we have meeting, you come, we have put $1, one person put $1. And we tell
You see yeah, and it's something to implement, you know. But the issue that our people have is that they've gotten into the thing that stuff has to happen today.
Right now.
We want right now,
Microwave. Right.
right? You know what I mean? Just push the and 5 minutes meal, maybe less than that, right? You know, when it doesn't really work like that in the real world. You know what I mean? It's like you're saying, every little bit, you know, but if we get out of the mindset that it has to be for us, right, and do it for them, then it doesn't matter how much we put in, because it's not for us anyways. Just put the stuff in there and then it's going to do whatever it's going to do. When the time comes for it to be used. You know what I mean? It's still there. Right. Right. And again, this goes into the thing, because we know people right now dealing with stuff like that right now, where their own family is trying to steal their stuff. So the people who are being the ones that's coming together, they have to be of a sound mind, sound characters. They have to be on a certain level, because we can plaster the bus with all the whoever's, but then when we get all the whoever's coming in here, who they're not really about this. They're on it because they saw something on the bus and they figured out, well, I guess the Moors got something to give me or whatever like that. Let me come to the meet and see what I could get. You know, then you have all these different rogue elements that, yeah, you know, in the appearance they're whatever, but when you check them and you check their chart and you check their life and whatever like that, these people are miserable people that you wouldn't even want in your organization, because they're gonna kill it. Just like those same people killed all these other organizations that were supposed to do something for the people and nothing got done. And then we're looking at the ones that are around today, like those are that's the all and be all, those guys, because they're still around. They've been here for 60, 80 years or whatever. You know, the change is gonna come when, you know, just like the brother said, you had the 101 questionnaire, Noble Jawali is holding up woman and humanity is written on it. So this is all about the young and unborn being able to not get it when we got it. It's key. It's a big part of it. So it's as you know, like the responsibility is also on her though. It's not just uplift her and her not uplifting herself while she's being uplifted. She has to be uplifting herself as well. Again, going back to things like you know, women's groups and stuff like that, where that'll be the plastering. Plastering the place that you have a women's group, so mothers will come and sit down and figure out some of their shit, because ain't nobody gonna do it for us. Yeah. Majority of us did.
This is not
you know.
Since I'm a kid, I was always involved. The politician would come to my yard and keep their meeting. That's how I sit in this chair. I'm learning from them. And again, the way how I see it is like all people have to get connected and continue and sort of that connection so that we can move collectively.
And again, that's nationality. That collectiveness you're talking about is nationality. Other than that, we're just out here not connected, and we just end up burning ourselves out. Whereas everybody's unifying so they can feed off of each other. because everybody's energy is gonna assist in what they're doing.
Like everybody-
All our energy is diverted.
We're all from quote unquote different islands, from looking around most of us, right? And all these different islands have these different flags. You know, you go to the caravan, you got their flag, right? So even just from a point of unity, like we can all still have our flag or whatever, but we're all looking at that flag and saying, okay, that's ours. Automatically, that just brings, that made us one. Because we're saying it's not like you're from Barbados, I'm from Antigua now. No, we're one. You know what I mean? So, you know, I was even talking to this sister because she's, I guess, she deals with the caravan and all this stuff. I was thinking one year we could have a Moorish school. Why not? Let's have a float out there with all the Moors. We got our flag up waving just like all the others. You know, that's one. Imagine all the people at those caravans. They all came with one flag.
Yeah.
They would look. That would be a different thing. People would be looking different. And that's a strategy they use against us.
Yeah.
Right? Because I mean, all these little islands, those aren't different places. You can swim from some of those islands to the next island. That's the same place. But they got us in these little pockets. And that's how they can, you know, they can
That's how they control, yeah. Divide and
come
conquer.
together as one
Divide and conquer.
one nation. Then we're gonna, and that's what the other people are doing. All of them, the Chinese come here, that's Chinatown. Some of them are Buddhists, some of them are atheists, some of them are Muslims, some of them are, you know, whatever the different factions of Chinese are. But they're all Chinese.
Mhm.
So that's the point I was thinking there.
So again, it's the same thing with in here. That out there, there's all these whatever. In here is Moors.
It looks like we need more. What is the aim and what and our purpose is to have the influence of this.
Well, that's why, sorry to interrupt you, but just to answer the question a bit, that's why no duality set out our program to answer all these questions and give us our aim and a path and a way that we can redeem ourselves as a nation. So if we study what the prophet brought and he tried to implement the framework and the blueprint that he set down, it's not something we gotta invent. He already put everything out. He said, I brought you everything it takes to save a nation. Right? So we just have to go in and see what were those things that he brought, what were those principles, what were those devices that he set out. And then we start doing it, start using it. It's already there. We don't have to go dig it up and look for it. He already came and he put it there. And 100 years later, we're still talking about it.
Yeah.
Which I didn't mean to cut you, I'm sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, we need to have big picture. This little picture is not working. This skill, like just see all the like
Right.
things going in like
Yeah.
the big picture has to be like billions of black people.
No. See, again, a black person doesn't have a nationality. So therefore, there's no nation. So it could be 1 million of them out there. It ain't gonna make a
It's
difference.
not gonna make a difference because there's no nationality, it's just people.
Like, you know,
It's
it's
just
not like
people
I'm
out
picking on
there.
anybody for saying we're black people or whatever, but at some point, you gotta get out of that status and get to a status where we can be, because black is non-human. Whether we want to believe it or not, like, we need to get to a point where we are human, where we keep human rights that apply to us, where we can actually build a community. You can't build a community of people with people that are not human.
That are a nation.
They're not people. So, you know, I know what you're saying, but we can't keep, at some point, the prophet already came and told us, listen, you're not Negro, black, colored, or any of those things. So we have to at some point make that step and say, yeah, you know what, I'm not black. Like, let's say if you're talking with your son, and they're saying, if they all showed up in red shirts, and all the teachers said, I'm not black, trust me, those people aren't gonna be saying, oh, they're gangs. They're gonna be stepping back and saying, how are we gonna deal with these people? Because they know themselves. You know?
Or maybe we get some t-shirts up there.
Yes, oh.
Get some t-shirts out
My son
there
is-
in the schools and the universities.
He's learning about depression, he's learning about nothing.
See,
They're not even interested anymore. This generation is not even interested.
so it's up to us to build quote unquote schools or quote unquote institutions that they can come to and feel a part of,
Yeah.
that they can come to and take it and start molding it, give them the clay, and let them start molding something for themselves.
The
Because they,
history, the religion, all that, they're not in, especially my son, I know he's not interested.
right. Because most of them know,
So he's
most
a
of them are
bad child. now.
smart enough to know that that's BS. And these youths, like these young generation, not taking the BS no more.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to, if you move something out of the way, you're gonna have to put something in
Replace
there.
something has to be replaced.
Or else they'll just be wandering
Yeah.
aimlessly.
Which is
So
what
they might get in trouble.
a lot of them are doing now. Wandering aimlessly. That's why they're in issues.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because there's no focus.
Their
Just like
focus is like,
Yeah.
it's some garbage.
Yeah.
That's right.
Classical condition have a lot to do with all people.
yeah,
Which would be a lot of it's from the quote unquote church. In our case, that's why Johnny came again and said he gave back Christianity to the Europeans for their salvation. He didn't say it was bad. He just said it was,
Wasn't
our
for
people
us.
are gonna, to get out of where we are, we're gonna need to go past Christianity.
And that's where my son is at, one of them type of school,
Yeah.
Catholic school,
Right.
where he's forced to look at the cross, the whole school has crosses everywhere,
Yeah.
the
And
woman in the
so
school.
what we need to do then is teach them the science of the cross.
right.
Teach them what all that based on. Because when you go and see what that's based on us.
Right.
All that stuff based on us. When you start bringing them back, because Jair sent me a video the other day with the so-called black inventors.
Yeah,
It's like 22 minutes long. And we know a few of them and we know the story, but the way the brother had it so concise in the one video, right? Just sitting there. I sat there for non-stop. They were just bringing another one. Even a person like me that studies the stuff, I'm like, wow.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Okay, there you're at. I did send it to you.
okay.
I think I might have said it. But the thing is, like, we're pretty, the civilization is based on us. There's nothing out there that didn't come from us.
Mhm.
Nothing. But the way that we have our people thinking is like, no, European brought everything.
Yeah.
We need to get that, we need to just start, you know what I mean? Attacking that, I guess, or
Yeah.
countering that or something.
The school.
yeah. And again, the whole idea of the counter is everybody having their role.
Right.
So you have one individual, they do the social media, they do IG, Facebook, whatever. Now this little people, they do the YouTube.
Right.
You have these little people that they stand on the corner and that's all. If that's the case, if that's what you're gonna be doing, but the work has to be spread.
Right.
Like when we got the temple that we're at now, we just came together and said, yo, we need 9 people who are serious because we need to get some stuff going. 9 people came together, bam, we got the building. Right? Issue is, again, burnout. There's people who really aren't really made. So after one session or one goal is reached, now 5 people drop out because that's all they had to give. So there's a constant renewal of bodies so that the energy could be regenerated so that some things can get done, or everybody's gonna just get burnt out. Yeah, right. And then we're not even, and then we're talking about this. We're not even incorporating what each individual has going on in their life outside of this. That's gonna affect how much they can put toward really what has to get done. You know what I mean? So again, there's this thing of the unification happening, the people who are on it, realizing what it is, making sure that you're not, like the brother was saying, you see our group getting together, that we support each other, 100. Somebody needs something, to call me before you go call somebody out there who's not a Moor, or who's not on the frequency that we're on. Oh, we want to meet? All right, let's meet up. Well, we can't because of da da da. All right, then how about we do some online whatever? How can we do conference call? Everybody has 3-way. That's 3 people on each phone. You got 5 phones. That's a conference call. You know what I mean? Everybody could be there. They could be there at the comfort of their own house. You don't gotta go outside, and then you could still meet and get some things done. You know?
So, what I learned is, when I was a kid growing up, is that most of us inside this room right now, we go with
Yeah, we're upstairs, by the second floor.
principle.
Mhm.
A lot of us go with principle.
Yeah.
But these kids now, that growing up now, they don't get the training what we get.
Right.
To have that principle.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm telling you.
But, and again, it's killing ourselves to try to make them get it, or focusing on younger generations who's just gonna accept it because it's the truth. Like if I go to a child, are you black? No. Off the top. It's nothing to debate or whatever. They already know that. So okay, so they're already there. That we can give them some more things. You know, like you're saying, the principles.
Right.
Giving them the principles to live by so that they can start getting themselves in that place. So when they reach the proper age, they already have something up here. Like I tell youths that we deal with all the time that you guys got it easy. We used to get our ass beat or whatever. You're not talking back to your mom. You get whatever. You're not talking back to your aunt or whatever. Your you know, sisters, your mothers, aunts, cousins, daughters, whatever will beat your ass. Because it took a village. Everybody knew that. It wasn't a thing where you just abandoned, well, he had problems, so we just abandoned him, leave him alone. No, if he doesn't work at our house, then you're gonna go to whoever's house. Your ass doesn't get beat enough there, all right, then you're gonna go to uncle whoever's house. And eventually you're gonna get to somebody's house where they're not taking no BS, you're not trying no BS, and then you get your stuff. You know what I mean? We had these things, but these things are things that have faded out of circulation with us because of our not knowing who we are, right? And losing these principles. You know what I mean? Like we, you know, yeah, like we say code of the streets. That back in the day, even the drug dealer was telling you, well, you know, you don't have to do a drug or go get your education or whatever like that. That's what drug dealers were saying when we were growing up.
Yeah.
The drug dealers when we were growing up weren't making me a mule to carry their stuff across to wherever.
Right.
They were like, no, you don't want to do this or whatever.
Right.
Go to school, make your mom proud or
That's
whatever
right.
like that. Make your dad proud.
That's right.
Isn't your dad or whatever like that? I know your dad. What are you doing out here and all that stuff? The drug dealers. You know what I mean? So if they were on that level with it, if they were on that level with it back then, and then today, all these guys are trying to make youth man their mule or whatever to carry their stuff. That's how we got to this place. You know what I mean? That's how we got to this place.
I like to think a little bit out of the box. Maybe it's my the out of the box. Because now I'm here and I'm listening and I'm talking and so, for example, based on what you're saying, what we've been talking about, how come, or maybe it should be a question, did we search our community to find out if there's a Moorish person who have a existing place that we could have congregated and cause them to wake up?
For example, yeah.
How come this person who is I think it's pivotal for us to view this person and this environment where something like this should go down? How do we get this person to see the same vision?
But see, that's the thing. You can't get them. They have to want to, which is why we're using this space. Because we done beat those guys in the head about, you know what I mean? Yeah, you can't, it's just like, you know the statement, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make it drink. It's the exact same thing with our people. We could lead them there. Like we're saying, we don't need anything, right? Right? So there has to be a time when we say, let the dead horse or the thirsty horse or whatever do whatever it's doing, and we're gonna do whatever we're supposed to do. You know what I mean? Right? Which again is going back to the thing of the individuals who are there. It's about them taking the steps, unifying amongst each other, right? Practicing the principles amongst each other, you know, living amongst each other on the frequency that we know it's supposed to be. And us doing that, other people seeing that and saying, oh wow, I want to be where those people are at.
And to be, you know, again, I do want to give thanks to, I'm not sure if he said he called me earlier this morning, said he was going to come here, Brother Davis. And he has been implementing a lot of the community work in terms of, you know, he's maintained a building for himself as owner, whatever. He's maintained a building and he's maintaining work in the community for many years now. Everybody here has been there at some point to, you know, participate from you know, maybe he hasn't come, you know, full forward being a quote unquote Moorish American and all that. But the fact that he called me bright and early this morning at 9:30, telling me what time to be here, he's going to be here and all that. So, you know, everybody's going to be in their own time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So you can't really, like you said, you can't force someone to drink until they're ready. But obviously, at some point, you know, if their mindset is that way, they're gonna. We should be we have a place we could have went instead of having to come here. But you know, everything is gonna be in its time. But in the meantime, we still gotta come together.
Right.
At the same time, we still gotta work, even though some people might not be there yet, you know, or they might not be ready to you know, some people are sitting on the fence a little bit. You know what I mean? Because everybody's trying to make it work. The best way they see fit. You know, like some of us are gonna go trying to do work in our free national. Some of us say, well, they want to do that, but they still gotta survive, so they're gonna still go out there with the quote unquote slave name or the Christian name and try to get it done. You know, but as long as we keep working together towards a certain purpose, sooner or later we're gonna all meet at the center. You know, but we just gotta keep coming together, keep meeting together. You know, when they go back out of town to Toronto, so-called, we should still be coming together next month. We shouldn't have to wait to come together only when the Grand Chief comes to town.
Right.
Or as he said, not in the flesh, online, you know?
Right, any way we can do it, but you know, like coming together in the flesh, we can do all the online stuff, that's great. But at some point, we're gonna have to come together.
Yeah.
So, let me say something. So, a while ago, you guys said you guys have in right? But you don't need to think God in your heart. But I read a text about native people, you know how them come on? All of us come together and sleep together. That's why we want to do it. Seriously. People laugh, but they tell it. Seriously. You know what I mean? So all of us here, right now, we keep one another one.
Yeah.
And that's what we come together.
Yeah.
As one.
Yeah.
It's better to be a person because when you meet people, you connect with people.
Vibes.
So,
Yeah.
like I'm sure the school too, and it's more than you see a person.
Yeah.
You feel a vibration and emotion. True. And then
Exactly.
emotion. You know, you start to doing, that's how it starts just to run to the top. It has to be in person. So you can see things for how it is and we learn from each other. You know, and we make each other strong. We build the strength of each other. When we sit down and reason on the right things, you know, and the truth. You know what I mean? Yeah, man.
What supporting is maybe I'm gonna use my personal experience. You know, I play in a reggae band for all my life. You never see any other space here in here, so you never ever would be play anywhere. I've seen you before. Yeah. Well, I only went yeah, one, two. I see trees. I can't go to 1980s. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
But, you know, that always brought me down because, so you know what I do? I decide, so don't stop playing on music because nobody know want to dance. So now me draw because most of the draw from long time. But the point there is, we need to have the support. You know, there's a thing what called collective effervescence.
Yeah.
Where all the people move towards like
Yeah.
the sea ocean or the wave they move at the sea. You know.
Right. Now let me give you an example. There was some Moors who were at a temple gathering, and they were the lesson was about, I can't remember if it was somebody doing a lecture on it or if it was something that came up, but there was an example of the same thing, collective effervescence, right? Where somebody was down on their luck. So one of the individuals who was at the class was saying, well, you know what, like outside of this, I'm really highly spiritual or whatever. You know what I mean? None of you guys don't know me or whatever like that, but outside of this, I'm like a master in the arts of the whatever. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the individual who has the problem right there, and then we're all gonna meditate to that individual that they get out of whatever they're going through, right? We're gonna close our eyes and we're gonna put our intentions toward that. So they did the thing, they did the ritual, and within some days or something, the lady was talking about how, oh my God, like the things changed and things are different, and oh my gosh, it's all because we did the thing, da 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 da. One dude came out and said, I have a confession to make. While everybody had their eyes closed or whatever, like I had my hand in the way of the thing or whatever, right? Of the vibe, so I could get some, because stuff was going bad for me too or whatever like that, and everybody's just giving her all the energy or whatever like that. So, right? Dude put his hand in the thing and he was doing contracting or something like that. This man had to work like he couldn't even do all the work that he was getting calls for. All of a sudden, just like that, yo, he's calls for work. Yeah, could you come do this? Could you do that? And it was just overwhelming. You know what I mean? Going to say what you're saying, that it doesn't take the millions. All we need is people just like this, who's on the same mindset. And once you're on the same mindset, you'll manifest what you will.
The question is, how support the team? When them are party on the weekend, because I'm not supporting that 2 months in our week. You see? And when you say me do constructive things, because I express what they in here, so I make people see. But how come we not support? We won't support it.
That's part of our issue. Why, again, we have to be doing this? Because remember, we talk about this dealing with who was it again? The whole idea of support. Oh, with the Jews, Chinese, Koreans, whatever. Everything that they do is really for out there to buy it. It's not for their own to buy it. It's for out there to buy it, and then whatever they get, then they turn it inward. Whereas everything that we do just goes this way. So when we say support, if we're gonna support our own, like I'm from the music genre too, right? Early I realized that I'm not doing this for these people here, I'm doing this for me. If they get something out of it, then great, I did my job. If they get nothing out of it, I was doing this for me. So it doesn't matter if they got something out of it or not. Because I knew that the lack of support wasn't there. And that these people are only going to support their destruction. This is where they have our people at. Like we make the thing the example of with us having a temple in Toronto, that we should be showing up there for class and the line going around the building. That's what should be going on. Because they've done everything else. Why aren't they here to support this? Why don't they support this? But then we know that, you know, just like with the horse, there's only going to be certain people who support.
So then you support
Because they're not there. They don't see the vision.
No national mindset.
They don't see the vision. Right? Just like you're saying. You know what I mean? We come from singing the BS music to singing conscious. Right? They didn't support when we were singing the BS. So if we were singing conscious, definitely we know they're not going to be supported because they're not even in that frame of mind to support it that on that level. Same thing with this. We came from all the different schools of thought. Logically, if I come from a school of thought and I come into some wealth of information, I'm going to go back to the people from the school of thought that I was in, like, yo, I got all this info. You know what I mean? We're coming from the same place. It should be automatic that they get on board with it. It shouldn't be pulling teeth to get people who I know to say that they're down with this. The only reason it's like that is because of colonization and them being under mental servitude that they don't even know. That's how crazy it is. That our people don't even know that they're under mental servitude. And then when the free people try to tell them, they're telling the free people that they're crazy when really people are crazy because they're calling themselves stuff that they're not. They're eating stuff that they're not supposed to be eating. They're going to places they shouldn't be going, all because of ignorance. But then when we use that dictionary back there, law dictionary, it tells you that ignorance is no excuse. Say that again?
1 man thought and 1,000,000 men's.
Yeah.
1 man thought and 1,000,000 men's back. Just to think about that.
Yeah, well, my concern is that one man and what's he on? What's he sparking these people to do?
Well,
If he's not sparking people to do something worth doing, that's a waste of that guy talking. Drag that guy off the stage.
You have to look on the history of text where they want the man where I call him just or something. I say 1 man that we talk 1,000,000 man's back.
Mhm.
Now I guess about that because that's how they do it from the so yeah. So
Yeah, what
with all the quote unquote Bible then we have so much church on every corner, like in these countries that our people live in, our communities, but there's church on every corner, yet our people are still in the same condition overall. So you know, it must be some, obviously that's not working, or we're using it from the wrong perspective, you know, or what's the matter then? Like, why, you know, and I think you already came and thought about the problem. You don't have no national mindset, no national principle. If you're doing something and you're putting it on, and then you're doing it on from a national perspective, I know I gotta be there. I gotta support my nation.
What if you are the
We still go around thinking that we're black people. Probably
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
So this is where the circle is going. Because he did what he was supposed to do. He didn't run around and go and say he's coming. He did it. He put energy into it.
Right.
That's all that it is the energy. He embodied that. And he bring it. When he embodies something, he bring ancestral energy. So in order to get other people on board, you need to embody. You can't stop.
Right.
You need to embody.
Right.
So if you come here today and you're nervous, right? That's embodying.
Right.
Well, that's I'm just trying to put it on you.
Right.
If you really want to do something, you have to do the work. Study, know it.
That's right.
Become it. And then when you become that, then everybody sees.
That's right. So
Right.
when you told him, say, they asked him, he said, study. And then he said, what should I study after that? Study yourself. So ourself is us, our connection to this thing that we're calling nationhood. Right? That's what Riley brought. He brought divine and national movement. So first, the divine, you go within yourself, right? And in the national, how does your divine self link with all the other people, divine people of your nation? Now you're all on the same page. So now, when we move forward, it's one foot moving forward, one voice talking. You know, that's how and that's what we're doing. That's what we're building. Like next month, we're in Montreal, right? So who's gonna be up there? I mean, I ain't got a lot of money right now, but I'm gonna try to find my way to Montreal.
I'll take it.
Okay, I appreciate it. For real, but that's the thing, you know, because why? Because I know they're dealing with some nationality concepts and issue up there, and
We
I
gotta
want to be able to support my
support the
nation.
nation.
You know, last month we were in Toronto, Drew Ali Day. Because why I want to be there? Because the Moors gonna be there, the nation's gonna be there, right? So if we have a nation, we gotta support our nation. And like you're saying, that's the work. So if we start supporting our nation, other people are gonna see that.
And wanna support
the
the nation.
unified. These people are strong. Let's go with those people.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, like, it doesn't matter who's coming, you gotta go.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter who's
Yeah.
here, you gotta start doing it. You know,
Right.
that's your thing, that's your destiny, you know? Like, you can't wait, you know, by the shore.
You
You just
know,
have to start going through that.
like how I met you was at Jamaica Day, right? We went down there, it was just me and Jay here down there. Right? And all these Jamaicans were looking at us like, he's that crazy guy with these specs on or
Yeah.
whatever, and you know, big flag, and like, there's people looking at us like we're crazy. But we didn't watch that, right? And from that, that's how we met. You know what I mean? And like, you can see that expanding.
that's what I was just gonna say. That, you know, this was, when was it that we did the first session when we came with Adiza and all those people?
That was at
Negus' spot,
yeah,
right?
10 years ago.
I was like, what? Yeah, 2010 to 11 or something like that. Yeah.
November.
You know what I mean? Over the time frame. You know what I mean? This is what it's amounted to. That it's a event that it's a yearly thing now. That we make sure that every year we got at least go do our Ottawa thing one time. Because why? We know that there's Moors there. You know what I mean? And more so, we just want to go be where the Moors are at. You know what I mean? Why not? That's our family. That's our nation. Why want to be somewhere else? Not resonating with people who are on my frequency. Been there and done that. And majority of that stuff is vampirism. Because half the time you're going to be there trying at some black thing, trying to tell people that remorse or whatever like that. You go home, you're beat or whatever. From trying to tell these people they're not black all day and they're still going with it. You know what I mean? Whereas you go to a Moorish thing and that doesn't even call it. We could actually start discussing what really needs to get done. You know what I mean? Opposed to things that are frivolous when it comes to what are we going to do as a nation of people or a body of individuals on the same mindset, right?
You know, disability is so, I think it's paramount in almost everything. And for instance, business school, they go Coca-Cola. Anywhere you go, you see Coca-Cola, see it, red and black, one way, see it kind of container. So, after you're saying for the past maybe 12 years, this movement has been going on. So how are we keeping it alive when we're not having these meetings?
Well, we do have meetings. We had meetings last year. Last year we were meeting every month last year.
No. I'm saying, how do we keep this going when we don't congregate at this one time and all of the congregate so people know that we exist and we're there.
Yeah,
we want to go somewhere because me bump up like depressed and me no feel good. And me can't talk to no one.
Right.
We go down and egos and talk to him because me not be speak this book and try to twirl no R's and no B's.
Right.
Tell it. And that me talk about. So, then they will sit up there. So I go know one day when they're frustrated. Which part they going to sit on us.
Right. And that's what we're saying, that's gonna come from the people here. It has nothing to do with us. We're just here on some. We're just here to verify that hey, there's Moors here. You guys can do stuff here. This is what we're doing where we're at, and we're Moors.
The reason we were meeting
This is what you
every
could do
month,
here,
right, was so that we could build that, right? The reason why we're talking with Suleiman and them was to set up something that we can have a temple up here for ourselves. But it's not gonna happen overnight. First, we gotta come together. First, we gotta meet, we gotta, you know what I mean, we gotta hash out whatever we gotta hash out, we gotta.
Gotta organize.
Get goals together.
Yeah, you gotta
You know,
organize.
It's happening. The fact that you're here, this is what, your third time, you're at the last couple of February, you know what I mean? This time you stayed the longest. You see, so.
Come see what I want, but at the same time.
You know what I mean? So, like you said, after they've gone back, let's have a meeting. You know, we had a meeting at Naya's house in the summertime.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Before that, we're meeting every month at Bronson's place. Right? So all we gotta do is put that back, get back to our regular meetings. Last year we were going to the law library, 3 times a week. Twice a week, me and these gentlemen were at the law library. Twice a week. Mother was there, this mother was there, this gentleman was there. So we're you know what I mean, we're doing everything to keep. Sometimes we had the pool night where we got together just the guys who went to play in the pool. As Moorish Americans, we're friends are in the pool hall and everything.
Yep.
So we're doing the work out here. We just need to.
Basically what he's saying, like what he said, it's not work, it's together. Like what he's saying, they're saying like we need to do something now, but it's not gonna happen now.
Where is that spot there where the fish down?
It's inside you.
Yeah.
They can call the bridges anytime on that, yeah. No doubt.
So you're talking about a physical spot.
Yeah, no one bridge near with you any kind of way. You can call him and text him and go and yeah.
Right, that's what I'm saying, but that's the same thing that that's the same that's the same thing that you're saying about everybody put up their grand and let's go get a building. Everybody put up their 500 and let's go get a room somewhere. Everybody put up their 200, let's go get a bus. Everybody put their whatever, let's start a school. All you need is something like this. This is it. 4 walls, ceiling, hopefully some heat because winter happens here and stuff like that. Electricity, and that's it. You know what I mean? And that's it.
Listen to this one. The first time I came to the meeting, there was not too many people. And I was grateful. Now I'm more grateful.
Right.
Look how many people.
Yeah.
You remember? The first time I come, how many people were there? You see? Well,
Yeah.
I think grandmother said. No. Time is longer than rope.
Right.
So, I think it's almost 4.
Yeah, you want to do it.
Want to take a little break for about 20 minutes?
Yeah, yeah. Right. Yeah, we'll convene. Chat people, y'all just chill there for about 20 minutes. We're just gonna have this on. But yeah, we'll reconvene in 15, 20 minutes. This is long.
Before I let you go through, we have the sport movement. We have honey on the side there of the board, the great leaders here. And you know, we feel free to support it.
Yeah, y'all. You got the mentally because my jar is running low, bro. You got the mentally.
was so busy last night, I forgot. I won't guide myself. Will do. Yeah,
Exactly. Earn by the time.
You have a plate? We need our own.
Really?
I'm ready to be
Oh, yeah.
Why did you forget what it was? You're a genius.
All right, here we go.
What's your whole name? Yeah, Jazara Ashanti. Thank you. You take yours out.
What you really
Don't tell me.
And then should we not introduce what we're doing? Let's talk to them.
Oh, that's all.
So, yeah, I mean, hey, do a little bit of a turn on here. Let it see if it was good energy.
Okay, we got about 10 more minutes, and then we're gonna get back to our lecture. Don't be shy, I have lots of honey on the back here. You guys want to bring some home, it's good for them.
So what is what's
Yeah, I know. Fuck. So I figured that it might. It was.
We're gonna fix it, we'll be under our hour and a half. Did you bring the book today?
Yeah, so we go, you know,
Yeah, I know, it's a lot of extra work.
3 books get sold.
Yeah, so we're gonna look at probably about because we have
Yeah, yeah.
like 5:30.
Okay, more.
Islam wars.
Islam, before we start back, I just want to thank you, Grant Teague, and all the ones who came up and brought it down for us today. As you know, the finance of liquidation. It's okay, it's all good. The finance of liquidation, so, whatever you can put forward, help out travel costs, or gentlemen come brought it down, feel free. Not arbitrary or whatever, but if we don't support our own stuff, then who's gonna do it? So not everybody has to be able to do it today, but if you are able to support, we usually have books and stuff today, they weren't able to bring bring our literature up, but if you are able to support in any way or whatever, just, like I said, there's money on the back. That we're supporting, you guys support the food and, you know, quote unquote, with the free cash donations for, don't feel shy. You're able to.
No, you don't go on. Yeah, you know what that is because I happen to keep track on certain things. You know,
Those are
certain items.
but I'll give you a fight. I'm know you a long time.
Oh, with
getting
Well, I don't remember it's online. I don't know if you
Huh?
want to talk about that online.
Wait, well, no, here, you know what I'm gonna do? Hang on, I'm gonna get a box here.
So you're gonna do question answer and then what?
Yeah.
Cut it off and let everyone knows.
Yes, yeah,
Huh?
do that.
I got a box here, and I'm just gonna leave it on the counter up here.
This one, Morris.
If anybody wants to donate, just jump in whatever you want. I know some of you wanted to give e-transfer, so the ones that want to give e-transfer, they can transfer to you. I guess they can transfer. Okay. Okay, you want to write? Do we have a word or anything we can write?
There's a little board right there, but we'll put it on.
Okay. So who wants to do the e-transfer stuff? They're gonna
Alfonso, you want to get a picture now before people leave?
Sure. Yeah. Time out, time out. We're gonna take our newspaper now. That way we want to intervene in this order.
Let's do it right now. Come on, let's go.
Let's
just get over
here. Yeah, everybody.
What are you talking about?
You even start.
Let's go, Morris. Let's go quickly, Morris. We're just gonna take a picture now, so that people who, you know what I mean, time-wise, and we thank you very much for showing up. Just remember, this becomes our historical continuity later. Right? Let's take it right at this wall right here. Yeah. Anyone who wants something involved?
Energy, you know?
You love me being here? Anyone who doesn't want to be in the picture, but take the picture. That's great. Whoever doesn't want to be. See, everyone's rushing now to be in there. Not me. You want to be in the picture?
But we have to take turn.
Anybody in the hallway who can grab tickets?
No, but Grant, every night. You know, I like.
Like people.
You know, I like. Yes, finally. You know, I like.
Let me get in the back. Sorry, everyone's not letting him in.
Again?
Islam.
Yeah, we'll switch.
You might have to switch it around.
Yeah, I'm put that in the
In the picture.
Ready?
Yeah.
You got a couple? Vegan cheese. Gotta make sure that's vegan cheese. You want one more? That's good. That's good. I think you already got a vegan cheese. There's a lot more second.
No, you're the vegan cheese. You're the cheese.
Vegan.
Oh, you're eating sato.
Vegan cheese.
You want to stand back?
Excuse me, sir. I'd like to
Anyone right? Because the next time we do, for example, what I do, very one attack. Moorish. Yeah, sounds good.
Maybe on the island again? I get fuck daddy ready.
Well, we have to make that here in Montreal,
No, Timothy, yeah, what you next?
We're gonna be down on Friday. This year, the Brotherhood comes early. It's on the 18th. So we'll go down on Friday. We're gonna try to do some kind of little ritual on Friday, and a Saturday lecture like this. And then, probably just try and be able to do a little more building, because we're gonna be done on Sunday. Actually sort of have some time, because, in theory, I'd like to be able to stay over, but in practice, right, there's just so much. So today we made it to the long term, 2 hours, all kinds of.
Today again?
Yeah. Well, hold on, okay, right there. Vegan cheese.
Vegan cheese.
You see, ready? Keep doing. See, I wasn't wrong, right? You know what it is? Reddy's a straightforward man, eh? No turns, no nothing, eh? So straight East Coast. Unless you tell me other. Yeah, no, we were in Quebec.
But Quebec,
I told him. No, we were in Montreal. We were 60 kilometers outside Montreal.
I know he was passed on.
Yeah, his guidance.
I feel like you would think that.
Yeah, his guidance comes from the spirit. He's going to the spirit.
It's not March yet. What are you doing in Montreal?
The brother left his water.
Where
He left his water.
Oh, you know why?
He'll be back, I'm sure. It's a lot more.
You're saying it's hot in here too? You're saying it's hot in here too? A little hot, eh? It's cool. You wouldn't be happy with it. I know, it's just that.
You guys go right back. So yeah, you have no choice to go straight this way.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna start taking some right turns up.
See any nice wild animals?
No.
So this is your water?
I haven't got anything new.
Islam. So we want to open the floor for anybody who has any questions or anything like that. Any comments that they want to express. We're at that stage. We got about an hour.
The first time I came for the, when I left, I think I'm always giving.
You didn't work for 6 months?
When I came the first time I came. I don't know. Let me go home. No, this is smoke.
Quit smoking right away.
But I was inside the room.
How long were you smoking for?
It's only been through
30 years. And then the energy, you went home with such a good energy vibe, and man said, oh, stop it cigarette.
Long time. Yeah, process, yeah.
You know what I mean? Everybody can take the energy and go out there and use it, whatever they need to.
And my gift to you today, I'm telling them you're powerful, man. And I like you, powerful.
Cheers.
I'm telling you, powerful. I'm telling you, feel it. You remind me of
When I was here.
You resemble, you know, like you're a family man.
Yeah.
It's like family brethren. I tell you,
But we have the white people from, the people, the white people live.
No, that's what I'm saying. Him, he's from Kingston, right?
No,
No, I'm from
Where's
Montreal.
mine?
No, I'm talking about my aunts.
Oh, okay.
Right? He's got Kingston side, you know what I'm saying? He's from like the rough side, you know what I'm saying? Like the rough side. But the point I'm trying to make is he smokes too, right? Even after having a heart attack, he smokes. I've been telling him, you know? When you say that, you resemble my uncle, and you're saying you quit smoking, and it's just, you know, it's just that connection I feel, you know? Yeah. So it's like, I feel like if you're talking, like you're my uncle talking to me, you're hearing it say to you.
Islam. So any other comments or questions while we move forward? Oh yeah, give thanks. Yeah, let's give it up for the caterers. Give thanks to the caterers. And also for everybody being here. So yeah, any questions, comments? There should be some questions out there.
I honestly don't want this meeting to end, it's like, back to reality.
Yeah.
Well, you know, question, I hear over time, it's sitting around, like, I understand when they say people know themselves, but the question is, who would know themselves in this place?
In this place or outside?
Well, you know, who don't know themselves and not in general, not in this one. I believe all human know
I believe
themselves.
the same thing, we're just taught to not listen to ourselves and trust the European to guide us and lead us.
Our people don't know themselves. If they did,
I
they
feel like
would
we
never
do,
be.
because like from when I was a child, I can, my gut's talking to me, my intuition's talking to me, but I was taught not to listen to it, to ignore it. But I'm stubborn, so I listen to it anyway, but a lot of people will just be like, no, or they need validation or whatever they're feeling, and most of the time, I'm going to stray away from what you know is already right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. We have to customize human scientists to propel the purpose of every human being is allow the next human being propelling moving towards something.
My son's 15. I feel like he was on the right track. He went to high school and now he's confused. I don't know. He don't even know himself anymore. He's just trying to be somebody else.
What I've not done yet is a great question I'd like to ask God. I don't have the answer, and I would like to have a bit of insight.
Yeah.
How come European control everything? But before that, this book, what they give me in history, the first landscape, what it mentioned Africa and African. Can you tell me how come England, France, Germany, America, Canada, and wherever else run and control everything? But that book, what they are reading about actually a pure African landscape and more African, Isaiah, Jeremiah, the whole of them. Them are African, now what? Them are African, them are not American or British or German.
Right.
Wow.
So with colonization came Europeans taking our information and applying it to themselves. So they call it grafting themselves onto history because they have no history of their own. So 325 AD, they had the Council of Nicaea, where they made up Jesus, Bible, and everything else that goes with that, and said that that is going to be the new place that we're going with regard to our indoctrination of the world. That this is going to be the holy book, This is going to be the holy Christ or the holy individual, and anybody who doesn't get down with that, we're going to take their head.
So from the coast of India to the whole 127,000 province of the Ethiopia, that's which part is Imperial Majesty, Roman country of the ever. So that is still ask a question. So as it's Jesus born, I know run nothing anymore.
No, remember, 1492, right? That was the last, that was exactly, so that was the last stronghold up until 1492. And even after, we're still in power as a world power, as a world nation. The Europeans only came into power in the last couple hundred years. Not
even thousands.
200 years.
Hundreds.
Up until the 17th century, they were still subjects. They were indentured servants.
So who deposed me? Just make it simple. Who deposed me?
Yourself.
Exactly.
That's what we're saying from the beginning. That when we look at who the enemy is, and they say the white man, that's us, not some Europeans.
Because we can go up in that history, just say Ethiopia have the oldest religion, you must start nowhere else.
Yeah.
No other blue eye, hazel eye, whatever kind of eye, and of them create no religion.
Yeah.
I make all of them.
Everything, yeah.
No, so how come Church of England, Methodist, Church of God, this one, that one?
Yeah, but that only got established a couple hundred years ago. Remember, in the Dark Ages, they didn't have, when was the Renaissance, right? In the Renaissance time, they weren't controlling nothing. They weren't controlling nothing. They didn't have coke, they didn't have salt, they didn't have sugar, right? They didn't have religion, cotton, nothing. They didn't have medicine, they didn't have science, they didn't even have a zero. Right, Roman numerals, they didn't have a zero. But the way they've written the history, they're making a thing that from way back was like that. And we were the slaves from the Bible.
So we want to find the history for that.
Well, here's what they did. Here's what they did.
I have theory.
No, what you need to do is study the Moorish history and know that only a couple hundred years ago, we were still in power. Even up to this, like most of the inventions in modern society, right? We invented it. Even in our subjugated state, we still made all these modern inventions.
Like everything.
Recently, they say it out on CBC, so, the slap shot and the butterfly.
Long time. Yeah, Earth Carnegie. Earth Carnegie.
Yeah.
So because they control the narrative, they control, remember, you already said, our greatest weapon is in our press. They have a press, we don't have none. So they put out the story.
They could put out the story.
There ain't no other story coming from us.
Yeah, because once we're telling our part, then nobody can't speak on our behalf.
Yeah. But them right up say Caesar didn't have power when Jesus was.
Yeah, for sure.
So
because remember, but remember that's there.
All those Romans and people look like us. They didn't look like Ferdinand and Isabella. Ferdinand was a dark skinned guy. He wasn't a light skinned European. So it was our people that
if we have a deputation and demonstration steady then because
the demonstration is us.
The demonstration is us being ourselves.
How come we now move scared to death? We not scared to death because we have death.
No national principle. That's the problem that our people are having. We don't have any national principles. We have no knowledge of what nationality is, what it means to us, and how to use it to move forward.
Like for example, right? The connection that you have to this is something from ancient. This is not just because you heard about this and then you're coming to this thing. Because I know that beret that you have is this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that beret that you have is this. You have the little button on top, right? You have this. It's the same felt. You know what I mean? So you've been connected to this, right? Huey P. Right? Brother, you had a question and then
I hear you say something a while ago, and you made me think, Mark. You say they take our knowledge and use it back on us. And where I live right now, I live here for about 19 years. And I tell you, when I went to that place, when I moved there was nothing going on outside. Nothing. Nothing. Yeah, nobody sweep you up, nobody take out nothing. And one day, I sit down, I sit down there for a long time, and I say, look at the yard dirty, and I used to dirty yard. I like the yard crisp, and I look at the clean, and I'm my place.
Right.
I just rent in place, I live there.
Right.
So on Sunday, I sit down on the window, I get up one Sunday, and I take one little pan, and I go outside, and I sit down with the big part of the yard, you can see, and I just look up by the shower I use to mortar and mortar and them something. Shower. Yeah, shower, yeah. And I go out there and sit down for a pan and I take the shower and I dig out every dandelion out of the
Yeah.
All the feelings.
See, dig out all of them. And then the sweep you up and back up here and then I go back in and I say, wow, you look nice, man. And that give me that courage.
Yeah.
And I start to clean up the yard and start plant up and next thing people pass and then talk to me and next thing one is say one put in the paper and the next thing put in the paper. I was in big me up and the next thing the whole of the people that I really know you come and consider start fighting until I take over yard.
You want to see how exactly what happened? That's exactly what it is. Exactly what happened. Go ahead.
See, that was that y'all don't know episode right now.
Patrick, your case is a case of plastic appropriation. Okay, and I think that is what has happened to the people in the Moorish. Okay, it has been appropriated, and then once the issue becomes appropriated, okay, then there's a certain narrative, and who controls the narrative pretty much dictates what happens. Understand? Right. So in your case, you started this thing, okay? Going nicely, and I say, hey, wait a minute. Oh. It's not there. The story from here on in does not acknowledge your contribution.
Yeah, it is.
Understand? And that's what has happened to us. Right. Always should be appropriate. Okay, because if you can think back from the time you're in basic school, okay, the whole history that we have learned is history of Europe. You don't learn the way this happened. Okay? You're of England, you're of France, you're of Germany, all the so-called powers in Europe. You have the great civilization in Zimbabwe. Okay, the great kings of Africa. Okay, are here. Understand what I'm saying? Right. That there's been trade between Africa and the so-called New World for centuries before Europe, before Columbus. Okay, they don't tell you that the first Archbishop of Canterbury was a black man, St. Augustine from Hippo, which is in North Africa. So who controls the narrative is going to tell the story, and not going to tell the story for your friends that already know all people.
Right. They're not supposed to.
They're not supposed to.
Okay, let's be clear. They're not supposed to. It'd be silly as I can't take it.
Yeah.
All right. So, but there is something that everybody's overlooking, and I realized that the words they don't lie. So what you see, what you say is what it is, but until you check the root of it. So, what happened to you? What happened to us? What will continue happening to us is something. The fact we're missing is called a force. Force. In Jamaica, they call it the Jamaica Constabulary Force. Force. The force. That's all things change. Narrative cannot change without a force. That's the missing equation. When you say, how did they get here? By force. What's force? Take over. Military might. Full contact.
Or forces energy.
Yes. Oh, yes. Sorry. Yes. Yeah. Full contact. Full opposition contact. Right? We didn't just give it up. It was a war. You know, I've been intertwined with my brothers. Would always say this for a long time. They say we're POWs.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, POW.
prisoners of war.
It's 10, 15 years ago, I think. And I was like, you know, that's where we're missing. We're not trying to nationalize. No, you're prisoners of war. That's the first thing. And a prisoner is always maintained by force. You step on the line, you are going to be checked. But you are a prisoner of war. You don't know why. You know, what's his name? Bob Marley, one of the wailers. Not the one, not the other one. One wailer. I think he's sing the song say, crucial, crucial. What we do you? Mad house, jail house. You know, what we do you? Like, what about a nation? You trying to figure out why you treat us like this. Like, what we do to you, like, you're really like, you can't stand us. You just want to discriminate us. But you didn't know that, no, you're a prisoner of war. How do you treat a prisoner?
Right.
So this is what I'm saying. We need to understand that that word is force. If you don't have it, don't talk. It's not going to just hand over. But you're right about it. Every history is our history. We run everything. Oh, just come over like that. That's a very good statement. Very festive. How just like, even the book you might read is me. But all we get to just get with it. Force. You know, and so today now, after 10 years or 15 years of this conversation, I said POW is where I started. POW. Because if you don't start at POW, you're in the wrong place. It's a war, we lost.
Right.
Yeah, it's a war, we lost. That's all. It's a war, we lost. They don't tell us there's a war. That's why we don't think there's a war. It was a war. And we lost. Okay.
So, figure out how you're saying the horse, or you can scale back on what you're saying, the whole force.
Vegans.
That's a good one.
Take down, scale back.
Vegans.
Just say vegan.
Scale back on the whole force thing to counter that in this time that we're living in now.
How do we do?
Well, I don't say how do we do it. It's already blueprints out for us on how we do it. You know, because,
No, force. No. Force is force.
well, the force is the
Military
strike
might.
of the pen, right?
No.
What
Don't
do you
ever,
think force is then?
don't ever think it's a stroke of the pen.
What do you think force is?
Force is military occupation.
So that's what you think.
Bullet combat.
So that's what you think that we have to do as our people to get back to where we're.
That's all you lost.
That's how we lost.
Yeah, you didn't lose by stroke of a pen.
No. I'm saying to get back to where we need to be.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, of course. Because let me show you something. Then after POW occurred, as I said, they migrated and all that time. I said, oh goodness, that's what we need to know this word. Because we always see movies here that word, oh, the Nazi and this, you know, they treat the prisoners of war. But we're the prisoners of war. So we overlook that part. Now, the other one that stick out with me all the time when we meet with our brothers and sisters is de facto government. We agree that they're not supposed to be ruled. But when you're de facto, that means by force. That's how you got it, by force. There's no hand over. That if you hand over, it's illegitimate. But you grab it, and it's not supposed to, you're de facto. So what I'm saying now is this now. Today, right now, we just use this word for conversation. The people that's blocking the railways today.
Right. So-called Indian.
Yes, that's what I said. I was gonna say indigenous, but I was like, let me pause. Right? The people that's blocking the thing right now, they can have dialogue, but when it's what's the next move of this de facto government? Force. And why did they send the president to the RCMP? Force. You have to understand that's what we've been overlooking all the time. We think it's like we don't know. It's a real thing. Force is real. Every people, every nation has an army. Every nation. I don't care what you're building. You have to have an army. And that's your force.
Of the Moorish American, the sense of the promise instructions, how he goes, not to even carry a pocket knife, but even in that sense.
Okay, so I will say to you right now, Louis, what about Louis Farrakhan said something one time, and I thought about it. He said the reason why the nation is like guns because they want us to kill us. So like, wait, we can't win an outright war, he says, right? I was like, yeah. So yeah, just as how every day today, They come, please don't resist them, talk to them nicely. Don't give them no excuse. So he's right. But it doesn't mean just to keep going. But you have to get to that reality. A nation has a military force. And without a military, you're not a nation. But we just want to invade your thing. So why I bring it up is because I had to struggle with this for a while. Because yeah, the first thing you have is right, like, how do we have all this information? Why is this people? Even for millions of years. It just really started. I think he said 200 years or 100 years. It's an insult. They're babies. They're babies.
So
But they
what have you
control the
done-
borders.
What have you done so far to counteract the so-called force that's being used against you personally?
Before we answer that question,
Yes.
just I want to say, again, as we always talk about the straw man and all that stuff, the European name, that's on us, right? It's known in law as the number gear, which is a warning, right? So we're well sure of the fact that we got those names put on us because of the number gear, the war, right? My next point I'm gonna make towards sort of an argument he's making is that we already have the brothers and sisters, right? The military, their military is full of our people.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so
Oh, yes.
so that's where, if we thought, that's where the force is gonna come from, right? If we don't, all those people have to do is say they're down with the Moorish nation.
Yes.
And that's it. We're not going to go build no army or go fight or whatever. It's already, the people ready to stand up is already there. You got quote unquote nation of Islam. Let's say like
Yes,
those people who are
yes.
Renaissance, if they would come on and under the banner of being the nation. Let's say the
Fruits
Moorish
of,
nation.
fruits of Islam could be
Yes.
fruits of Islam could be the military.
Yes.
So, but again, it goes back to you saying that you can't have your own nation without the military, but you can't have a military without the nation.
No, it goes on. It goes hand in hand.
You know what I mean? So that's part of, so again, we still have to move towards the national principle of recognizing that we're a nation. If we're a nation, then obviously we're gonna need economics,
We need
we're
protection.
gonna need military, we're gonna need
Healthcare, whatever.
everything, we're gonna need everything.
For the nation.
So it's not like we're not cognizant of that fact. We are cognizant of that fact. Because if you go and you check there, like there's so much wars the United States fought against the indigenous people. It wasn't one war. Every 10 years, there's like, if you go and check the history, there's like 50, 60, every 10 years there's a different war.
Yes.
That's what they did. Every time they moved in from the East Coast, they war. Then they moved in and they moved in. But like he was saying, it's not gonna think where we're gonna beat them forth like that. The people, I'm gonna just finish that. Our people that are already in those positions,
That's who's
they're the
gonna
ones that are gonna have to,
wake up.
that's it. Otherwise, they got a chance.
We do have a chance.
Yeah, if those people, if our people support our stuff, right? A couple of us out here, we're not gonna fight them with all their stuff.
Yeah,
Our people need to get on board with our
Yeah.
nation.
because if they have one tank, we're done.
We're done. One time. Just one.
One tank.
That's it, really.
If I may, because I agree with you that the military strength is important because we lost all that we lost in terms of our history, culture, the roots of the language, what's from conquest. Okay, because without a strong military, you become a standing temptation for anybody to be strong. Okay, and we have seen that with this. Now, in reference to the respective armed forces that we have around the world, where all people are, how do you get them to get the vision or see the vision?
Okay, well, Julie said this, he said, our brothers and sisters are coming from the east, right, to assist us. So when you see that the head of the so-called Canadian military, terrorist, you understand? So we terrorist, right? So when you see the other guy there, Sting or whatever, head of the NDP, I watched him last night, and he was saying, so-called Canada needs to stand down, RFP needs to come off their property. He's saying that, he's terrorist guy. You understand? So us getting into a Moorish nationality is just like Julie was saying, United of Asia, right? As you can see in this city, it's evident now in Ottawa, you feel that in Toronto and stuff. It's all the dark-skinned people from India, people from Hindustan, Pakistan, the Arabs, all the dark-skinned people are coming here. We cannot let those people see us as black people. Right? They will treat us worse than the European. We're begging for the European back.
Yeah.
We gotta let those people know who we are. Turban, fez, national headdress, national principles, right? And then they'll see that we're never the same. It's uniting of Asia, and that's what Joe brought. Uniting of Asia. That's how we're gonna get back our stuff. By joining with the rest of the brown skinned people in the world.
So we don't have to worry about using force.
Well, we might have to at some point. These arguments not totally, you know, if they keep licking you in the head at some point, you're gonna
Well, in the sense of force, I mean, yeah, they can force their subjects, you know.
No, force is real. Like,
but it's like,
it's not a,
but it was like, Umar said, force is also energy,
yes.
right? So when we put the energy behind our national principles and into co-joining with those, because right, co-joining with the other dark-skinned people in the world, we're the majority. We're outnumbered them.
Yeah.
There's definitely nations that exist now that don't have a standing army.
Yes.
That they're still a nation.
Yeah, no.
So there's a certain level of
And then they also have to maintain the economics for their army, right? They gotta pay their soldiers and shit. So they gotta have stuff, economics running. But as you can see right now, the Arabs are coming here taking over all the economics. The Chinese are coming here taking all the economics. The Hindustans are coming. Hell, the Nigerians are over here taking over the economy, right? So we gotta go join with Asia, with the Asians. And if the Europeans or the Eurasians, if they want to come on board, then free. If not, they're gonna go down. They're gonna go down. Their time is done. They're selling out everything here. Their economics is going down. They're not getting stronger. They're getting weaker. They're putting up the appearance that they're getting stronger, right? But their stuff's getting weaker.
the only way, just like brother Alfonso said, like as far as the military aspect of our nation having, you know, arms or whatever like that. 5 or 6 guys with some guns isn't gonna do it. So it's either gonna be other nations that are gonna have to come and assist us with it, or just like we're saying, people who are already in that realm, you know, in military, navy, whatever, and they look like us, they should be using their services that they just learned from them to assist us. Right?
So how does it sound like political integration is gonna be happening sometime?
No, it's not really an integration like that. Because remember, the whole point of Europeans being here in the Americas is because they're supposed to be in the 13 colonies. They're not supposed to be in the mainland. We're not supposed to be seeing them out here doing work.
Yeah.
That is really our jobs and our buildings and our parliament and our whatever. All that stuff is our stuff. Because we're the foundation here. But they got us to think that we're something that we're not, and then they took over or they grafted themselves onto the history. So now they're making the claim that they are the superior one, or they're the sovereign, or they're the, you know, the Pope is talking about the Holy See. And the Holy See is anywhere where the Pope went, that's his realm. What are you talking about? You're a foreigner. Anywhere you went. But if the people there aren't talking like that, if they're going to run and kiss the ring or whatever, then I guess he is the sovereign.
Yeah, that's something I want to bring up, because it's like they got us thinking, and that's something that's very important. They got us thinking, so we're in their armies, right? But they got the program to make us think that way, right? So that's a real thing. Where only they get us in the state, sure, they force us in, that's one, and also maintain. So I'm saying is, I understand that by being national, another national respects me, because like, oh, someone in heard like, oh, you are fast, oh, you're a brother, I read about you in my story, you are me, right? Yeah, I can see it, but they still have the program that makes brothers and sisters not get it. You know what I'm saying? Other than though they're saying they're so and so and so. We know everything belongs to us. We know that. But to switch over, there's factors there. There's force, and then there's also the psychology of making sure you don't see it as that. You know? So those are factors that's real and evident. When you don't know those things, you will never change the game. You know, and before you go, they asked His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie in an interview. He says, "Are you suggesting that there will be violence? Are you suggesting like is that violence or aggression?" And he said, "No, which I argue that it means. Because we fight." They didn't expect to say that. Because that's part of the factor. You have to actually reserve that right. You know, you have to fight. You have to reserve that right. You can't just say, you want to go peaceful means. You want to. But they're not. And they'll come at you. And you're going to make sure you can stand on it. Because that's the real world of nations. Nations do fight. It's not just sit back and relax. Nations do fight. And I was shocked when I said to people, oh, so because it's Haile Selassie one kingdom, he is free? No. They still came. So you have to be aware of it, that yes, the first your steps to this, you have to become national. There's no conversation. You have to tie you back into your history and story. That's a given. But it's also force. They took us all by force. And they don't like to talk about force. Oh, no, there's no hatred. It's just what it is. I lost all this through force. You know it's mine. You know it's mine. Even when you're reading it, but you're not giving back to me. Come take it. Come take it. Come, no, come. If you're bad, come. Lock your ass up. This is what I'm saying. So I'm just saying, this is what because I don't want it to seem as if it's just flipped like that. It's real. They took us down. We're POWs. And when we learn and teach our children that, then we understand we have to live. We're not free. And that's what back to nationhood, nation building, ties back to. By time back to that nationhood, you tie back to your continuity of your story. You didn't start in 1492. You didn't start on this little reprinted document they said. You see what I'm saying? So this is why nation, but as I said, I had to sit down and say, oh my goodness, the factor, who's number one, and the psychology of making us think that we belong to their army. You know what? Make us think that I know, and they said when Ethiopia, quotation, the Abyssinian Empire was on the fire, and he used the word as all Ethiopians come to rally the fight. America banned us from leaving to go support the war. So even if we're in the army, we wanted to go fight for the kingdom, and they banned it. So that's what I'm saying. We want the call is there, it's us, but they banned it. When they returned from World War I and they came back home and they realized they retreated, then you could grab some of them in the other movements and say, let's come to your nation. But it's a really strong psychological thing. I don't underestimate it. It's really enforced and maintained. When you open a school or anything that's going to teach the people this way, they'll come and bomb it and take it out.
What exactly, bomb? What exactly?
Oh, okay.
Destroy
your thing. Destroy your structures.
What war are you? What's your status? This is the example.
Okay, so I would say this to be clear. When we fought in 1492, we fought as Moors. So we had there's no status conversation. We just fought. We fight. We fought a war, we lost. So it's not about that they took us down.
No, what? No. Let's say that it wasn't a loss, and one of our own gave it up.
That's it.
Right?
What if it's an appearance of war, but really it was given up?
Yes.
Right, just like if we go through all the different, it's always one on our side who's gonna work with the oppressor to cause the quote unquote downfall. So if we go with that somebody sold it out, then yeah, we have a right to claim it because it wasn't really a war like that. What like for example, like with what you're saying, right? This is why like there's things in the literature talking about there was a convention and then they had people in soldier uniform at the convention, at Noble Drawley convention. And then people with military vehicles, right, Noble Drawley's convention. And there was people, so people had a sense of allegiance to the nation with what it is that they were quote unquote mastering, right? Like when you look at Garvey and the Black Cross nurses, those weren't some nurses from our side or whatever. Those are nurses that were in U.S. that said, yo, well, hold on a second. Why am I using my skills as a nurse for these people who are colonizing me when I could use it with my brother right over here who's starting up, you know what I mean? So that's how the different facets of what it is that we need is going to manifest when those individuals say, forget allegiance to whoever's oppressing me. I'm going to take all my skills that I learned from them and I'm going to take it over here and put it so that the nation could have a version of what it is that I'm coming from. It's not going to be the common people. It's going to be the people who are mastered in, who are skilled in that. And they realize that's why they had issues with Jeff Fort, because they thought Jeff Fort was converting all these gangs or whatever into Muslim whatever so that they could go side with Japanese and side with all these different, when no, they were just getting back to being who they are as a nation, right? Ending gang violence and having all these people who are in gangs use your guns for some good, protect the community. We have popo kidnapping people around here. We have police doing all types of madness to people, and they're just able to do that, right? Same thing with Black Panthers. Police taking advantage of authority. They weren't saying carry guns or whatever like that on some war. Oh yeah, we're gonna war with the Europeans, so we got guns. That's not what they had guns for. They had guns to exercise their constitutional right to bear arms. And if you have the right to bear arms, then it's to protect the people of the community who don't have arms. It's not for you to be the man going out here trying to, you know what I mean? You're really doing a service if you're taking that position. You know what I mean? And you know, it's hard pressed to find people who are going to take that position, because you know the people love the devil because he gives them nothing.
Then like nationality, you know, quote unquote, determines your political allegiance.
Right.
Right. So the fact that you're gonna like that's what Drew said, nationality is the order of the day. So the fact that you start, you know, encompassing back your nationality, automatically that's where your allegiance is gonna be, to your nation. So at some point you're gonna come to the realization, like you're saying about the Black Cross nurses, that you know, I gotta go for my nation. So whether you're in the military or not, at some point you're gonna want to use your skill for your nation. So it's about getting the people's mindset. It's not like saying that, I mean, you're right, at some point we might have to fight. Yeah. But how are you gonna fight if you don't know what you're fighting for?
Right.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So nationality is the thing that we have to get into the minds of the people.
Yeah.
So their allegiance is not to the Queen or the Pope or Prime Minister Trudeau or whatever.
Their allegiance to their nation.
Their own nation, their own people. That's the key of us getting out from being quote unquote prisoner of war or whatever. Yes.
Before your question, just read this quick, just to stress the point of what we're talking about. This is again Malcolm X, By Any Means Necessary, page 147. I must say this in brief. I was talking to a brother from the Congo who was very angry. I was in Tanganyika, and he had just come from Leopoldville, and he was very angry because he told me that out of all the paratroopers, or 80 paratroopers, he was telling me that he was very angry at American Negroes, that he was talking about us, you know, like a dog, not me, because he knows what I represent. The best thing the white man ever did for me was to make me look like a monster all over the world, because I can go to any place on the African continent and our African brothers know where I stand. He was angry because he said that most of the paratroopers, the American soldiers that were guarding these transports into Shombe were American Negroes, that they put American soldiers in there. I never had a chance to check it out. Normally, I wouldn't stand up in public meeting and say it, but when I first heard it, and I heard it from an Afro-American who works over there, I went to track this brother from the Congo down. He's a very intelligent fellow, and he said yes, and he was hot. And so I sat down and let him know that all of us don't think like that, that they had to go all over the United States with a microscope to find that many Negroes dumb enough to let themselves be sent to the Congo. Imagine a Negro that lets himself be sent to the Congo in a uniform against people who look just like he does. Right? So those individuals who are not from here, that see our people working for them, going over there to go fight Europeans' wars or whatever like that, see us as traitors for that.
So
They see us like sellouts for that.
yes, no, I understand.
Right? So it's on those people, like we're saying, that come to their senses to realize that, hold on a second, this is the wrong thing. This is not where my energy is supposed to be at. I'm supposed to be putting my energy toward my nation. You know, anybody who's in teaching, and you're sitting there and you're an Asiatic teacher and you're sitting there and then you're checking all the stuff and then you're seeing only our people are failing, and then everybody else is successful, and then our people are failing, and then our people are the ones who have some ADD, HD, PQRST, whatever, right? Making up stuff. Our people are the one who have to get vaccinated. You're getting suspended because you didn't get the vaccine shot and all that stuff, while everybody else is getting to, you know, oh, exemption because I'm Jew, exemption because I'm Hispanic, exemption because I'm whatever like that. But Negroes don't have no exemptions. They have to get vaccinated, right? It's our people. Once our people realize that their backs against the wall, and you know, if you don't get your stuff in order ASAP, it's over already. You know what I mean? Because of the ignorance of the people. Forget what Europeans doing. Just our people's ignorance only. When a guy's gonna go and get the thing and then he has like a full wall and then it's just shoes in there. And then we're complaining about, well, where's our hospital and where's the black man's this and that and all that stuff. But then we have right? Or some guy says, yeah, I'm gonna build a school, give me 50 million or whatever. And everybody gives him 50 million, and then he leaves with the 50 million, and then nobody's saying nothing. When that guy comes back around, yeah, how you guys doing? I'm here for the lecture with the whatever like that, and people listen to him. He just took 50 million from everybody. Nobody dragged this guy off and beat this guy's ass yet. But that's where our people are at. Which is why we're of the thing of, okay, well, you know what? We need to, you know, get information out so that certain people would gravitate to this, and then the people that gravitate to it, those are the ones that we're gonna pick to do something. Just like what we did out here, just like we do in Toronto, just like we do in Montreal, just like we do Moors wherever else that they're at where we meet Moors. You know what I mean? You get yourself together, organize amongst yourself, and you know, manifest what you will. Because one, there's not no savior coming or anything like that. And two, nobody's going to respect us if we're not doing it from a national perspective.
Well, no one's going to respect us if we don't respect ourselves.
Right.
And I think that's
in that position. Yeah.
I think that's where we're at. And some of the stuff I've been wanting to, that, you know, this stuff is on the front burner for a reason. And Moriah Yoshida, who spells his name M-O-H-R-E-I, said that spirit is the true shield. Right? And this is what we started off coming here in the vehicle talking about how our spirit is in the place of being a more, where our activity is still black activity. And that we really need to start to, you know, and this is what some of the stuff that spoke to me a couple of years ago. There should be certain standards. Coming here in February is a standard for us. This year it almost didn't happen on a certain level, but we, you know, that's the force. The force is we were going to make it happen. Whether we were standing on the parking lot or not, we were going to attend here. We were supposed to come with double the amount of people. Half of the people were lost. That's what it's gonna be. That's why the prophet said, I'm gonna have, you know, I'm gonna have, what did he say? I'm gonna have
A handful say with
a handful, I'm gonna have a
handful
handful
say with fingers left over.
with fingers left over, right? So these things were all said. I think they were all metaphors for certain things, but they were all there because basically that's where prophecies come from. The fact that we're seeing it in a linear fashion. He's seeing it
And cyclical.
He's seeing it from the end to the beginning. He's seen the whole thing, so he can actually talk to all of that because he's actually seen the whole thing through. But I think for us and for these regions, we're looking at this year at starting to be active in more of a municipal fashion, more of a fashion, as I said, if these Linking Indians can stand in a certain area and get some, at least, you know, Cujo and I battled on this one. He's like, well, of course they're going to get talked to because they're the Indians. Of course they're their boys. But then if you heard what Andrew Shearer said, you heard one of the things he said, who's the real indigenous? He actually made the comment where he called out the Indians.
Yeah.
This is the opposition guy.
Yeah.
Said, why are we even having conversations with these guys? Are they the real indigenous? That's what he said. Well, that's what I'm saying. You're not going to hear those sound bites.
I gotta go get it back.
Well, here's the issue too that you have to understand, and this is the other stuff that I've been very concerned with. You see, we came from a culture and a place where, first of all, we talked about things, right? It would be oral tradition. Now we're in this thing where we've got this and this. If this thing goes down tomorrow, all of us are running around like we're a bunch of chickens with our heads cut off, right? We're in real trouble. We don't see how sublime these people have really worked it now that they can be sitting in a building running nations out of a building. That couldn't happen before. These are some of the things that, and that's what you're talking about, this force and all that stuff. I wanted to get back onto that. You know this, in jail, it's really the prisoners who run the jail. They're the ones who run the jail. When they decide it's time to overthrow the jail, they overthrow the jail. They're only keeping us there because of our mental agreement with that. We know that that's where it is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not about even actively fighting against them. It's about, Taj will say this, about turning your energy from them. They die right away. You know what I mean? We stop giving them that energy. They stop being able to do whatever they're doing because they can't. And then another thought I had, don't think that this coronavirus isn't proof of that. Tomorrow, if the prophet or whoever wants to end these Europeans, he'll give them a bug that'll wipe them all out. You know, we won't even have to lift a gun. They'll have some coronavirus, some Heineken virus too, and they're all gone.
Oh God, you would die here. I think virus needed.
No, but I'm saying, but the prophet actually talked about that, right? The prophet actually talked about that. We have to realize this, and this is where then you see them emulating all of these spells and these sorceries in movies. That's what Blade Runner was about the creation of Frankenstein, the creation of this creature, the European, that was part of us. Her egg with another being's sort of seed, and they created this because they wanted to try and create this slave race, and then we fell because of that. You always talk. Remember, we've had many spirited conversations about where we fell and where we're getting up and all this kind of stuff. At the end of the day, the European, in a sense, is our fellow man. He may not be our brother, but he's our fellow man. And really, we know this. There's a big portion of them too that don't want to see any fight happening. They ain't winning any fight. If we get up tomorrow, we decide that it's time for us to fight this, it's over for them.
Yeah.
We're too busy, as the guy who created the AIDS thing, he said, we're either too busy, drinking, drugging, or watching sports.
Boyd Graves.
Boyd Graves, right? And then they opt him as well.
Yeah.
But as I say, I think we're at that verge. And so Cujo and I were battling about this. Well, why are they having all these sound bites? If you notice this, they never had any of the chiefs that they were talking about. They never had those chiefs on the camera. They were always talking about what these people were saying. And I started to realize, wait a minute, what is really going on here? Because we're not hearing anything from the grassroots people. We're only hearing from Trudeau or this. And I started to realize, wow, this is yet again
control the narrative.
Total controlling the narrative that you're talking about.
It's their network.
Absolutely.
Right.
But we do know that you can't get on a train from Toronto to come here. So something's real, is what I said. Right? Something's real about that. But then I also heard, and this is what I'm saying, this area has got a lot of power too. Supposedly they sat up in Carolyn Bennett's office and blocked her doorway, right? She was the minister of whatever. I don't see, there shouldn't be any reason, right? Because it says in the Bill of Rights that we should be able to sit down and peaceably petition things. We should be able to sit and often say, we want to have some words with you about something. Now, as I said, this could all be a bunch of stuff, but I think that we're at that level now. But that's where the organization comes in, and that comes in under the umbrella of the nationality and the national concept.
And everybody being at that place.
As best
So
as
that
possible.
so that when we go sit at whoever's office or go sit on a train track or whatever for the Moorish, whatever, that it doesn't turn to some nigger Indian, whatever. Because everybody's on the mindset that, you know, we're going there with this is the agenda, we're gonna do the principles, we're not gonna raise a whatever, and we have to get some type of response. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be what other people have done. Like Brother Rennie said, we've had people released out of these people's custody with a phone call. Send a letter. Send a letter to the guy in charge. Hey, you guys are committing international war crimes or whatever. You have so and so and so and so here. You need to release them. They are released yesterday, tomorrow.
Rather school get sentenced and then still out and done out, just telling them
Yeah. But they're gonna look.
Those are part of our issues too. And that's what you were talking about, yes, in terms of unfortunately, our mental state being one that we think we're seeking justice. We ain't seeking justice. That's not a judiciary. That's a bunch of criminals. You know what I'm saying? But also, we also have to carry ourselves in a certain way.
Yeah.
Because what happens is through our actions, they take wardship status over us. If we're out in the street wilding like a bunch of savages, in a sense, then they're gonna
deal with us accordingly.
They have the moral ability. They have the moral and sort of spiritual sort of
Obligation.
in a sense, to really do that, right? And that's where that comes into the spirit that we see, because once we start opening our stuff up and doing stuff right, you notice that the gates start opening.
What's the name of the guy said
Moriah Yoshida, he created the art of peace.
Yeah.
And just say art of peace, you Google art of peace, creator of art of, or the creator of Aikido, either one. But his was the art of nonviolence, which will say that any of your aggression that you send to me, I'm just gonna send it on its way. Right? And that was the whole art form.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I was
We got about 10 minutes.
okay, I was wondering why we joined your armies. Why the brothers and sisters go into the armies. And I realized that most people don't want to go into the army.
Well,
But you're going because you're going because you're offered something.
Yeah, you got something.
So I realized that the game is not just knowing, it's also use the word employing, but it's also feeding. Right? So they join the army because they're given an incentive. And I said to myself, well, even though they treat us this way, we still went in because
You're getting something, yeah.
Yeah, you're getting something.
but I also want to say this, and I'm just going to quickly.
It's no different than welfare.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what
but
you
what I
know-
was going to say, there's also a certain element to it that if you talk to a lot of the young ones, at least in their mind, because remember, you couldn't force them to do it. In their mind, they were protecting their country. So there was also that sort of psychological sort of mumbo jumbo that they put on you, that the heathens were here and you're 18 to 20, you don't have a career. A lot of these people you saw were going into the army because it would offer them, like you say, something. But at the crux of it, it was them protecting their country. Was at least the line that they were sold, right?
yes, there's no that line. But they still saw Jim Crow.
Yeah.
It's really bad. So I'm just saying, because I realize that that's the secret scenario. They go in because they offer something.
Mhm.
They go informed because they offer something. They blackmail us, say we will go to jail if we don't give us so and so.
Right.
There's always something they're always offering.
Right.
So like reverse now, we have to offer something.
It's called the payoff, the nation.
But I mean, the nation is fine, but the people of the nation, they have to have an incentive to save the nation.
No, that's what the brother said. That the nation is the incentive.
Well, I know that's what he said.
The incentive is that you were stateless. Now you can be a nation.
But I'm agreeing with what he's saying, that ultimately this is where I think the sheep I don't say that lightly, the ones that maybe aren't the forerunners, they want to see, hey, if I declare my nationality,
What am I gonna get?
I'm going
with
to be
this?
receiving this, which is something that we as the sort of the
Should be able to
have certain
provide.
stuff.
Yeah.
The same way that they're getting their welfare check,
Yeah.
they should be knowing that, hey, if I become a Moor, I'm not
getting
going to be
my
harassed by
yeah.
Friends and give support or this
Right.
or that. So that's fine. It's how nation building.
Yeah, right.
It's how Egypt nation building.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to put that there. So POW, force, and psychological weapons.
Yes, well, to add on to that too, the prophet said, don't worry about how you're gonna be saved. You stay behind me when the fire comes.
Yeah.
You know? That's
I'll be your water.
too, you know? I mean, we're seeing it right now. There's force being used against our people right now, you know? Trayvon Martin, you know what I'm saying? Those guys, you know, Michael Brown, you know what I'm saying? Those are Moors.
Yeah, so to get behind you means get to the doctrine. Means know my words.
Yeah.
Stand behind my words. Use my words to protect the situation. Not physically coming up here with nothing. Just means know the information. Because in this situation, the information that you know is
It's gonna make you stand.
so you need to get behind my words. So nationality is the name of the game. So you have to always on your square, always be national. Because they view you according to your status.
According to that.
One thing, so yes, as I said, I can be cold and things are said because it's not European religion. There's no spookiness.
Yeah.
Especially since we're waking up more, you know, they're gonna be, you know, the forces being used against our so-called black people even more than ever, you know, because recognizing that we're waking up. Before we all wake up, they're gonna have to take some airs, you know? So that's what's going on right now. You know?
I think the psychology is real. As you said, stay in your room and run a country. They got us down to here. So if they shut this down, we don't care. We're so dependent.
Yeah.
They got us those conditions. You just crippled immediately.
Yeah.
Like
Which is again part of the you know, when they say off the grid and all that stuff. Off the grid is not go 50 miles, 500 miles that way to the, off the grid is put your phone down. Come off the damn internet. Pick up a book. Take off the TV. You know what I mean? Stop microwaving food. You know what I mean? Whatever. You know what I'm saying? Stop listening to these radio stations playing the same stuff 500 times a day, and then you're getting brainwashed. And then you know you're getting brainwashed because you're singing a song you don't like or whatever, but you're still listening. You know what I mean? Like those are the levels of off the grid that we got to deal with before we deal with go over there to be off the grid.
Virgin repeated Granny say all the time. Granny always said you cannot sit down on power.
Yeah. But then
how come we people keep coming here and we have all this knowledge about all this our system, society, governance?
no, think about it like this: that the system is not the land. We keep thinking that the system, the enemy, the West, the you know the white man, the whatever. We keep thinking that that's the land. That's not the land. That's something only on paper. We know that we had ancestors in this land just as long as we had ancestors over there. Because at one time over here and over there were once connected. So if over there and over here were once connected and then it's separated, if you and I came out of the same womb and you moved to Florida and I'm in Toronto, that means that we're not brothers no more because we're separated? No, we're still family.
Right. I'll tell you too, I got something in Canada and go to college and start feel like gravitating to music. I go to Jamaica, I went to Jamaica and asked my father that. Where did we get this to be? My father said, I know. My father shipped out from America to Jamaica, and my grandmother was still in England from some part of my father tell me that I'm in there, Jamaica. I never hear nothing. When we hear about Minnesota, we hear war and Robert the Top most Minnesota, war on the chest. And when my father tells me that I'm in but the way it happened, it's kind of a way where I have children from different mother. One of my children come to me and say,
Yeah.
That one thing look like our sister, which was their father, I was the father, but I'm a daughter, consider me both, and next one, I'm the child. So that's all for me, I'm asking father this person, father, well, he was in America before you come to Jamaica, so still where you there.
Right.
Sioux Indian, then end up from Minnesota, place called Manitoba.
Yeah.
The biggest medicine indigenous people.
Right. 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 So if that's a thing that we know in our family, then why are we talking about going across the Atlantic Ocean, going all the way back to some place where we go there, the people are gonna say, you're not from here. You don't look like no African and all that type of stuff. Right. We're at 5:30 right now. I don't know, brother, you had your question or comment answered, or we'll close out with your last question? Yeah. Because I know you had your hand up for a little bit.
Yeah.
No, I'll just agree. Yeah.
All right.
So we're gonna be in Montreal on the 20th, having a lecture at for the vernal equinox. And these are some of the things that we've been trying to establish as taking back our culture, taking back our energy. That's really the new year, right? Spring. That's really the new year. So we're looking at sort of, and that's been some of the stuff that we have been looking at, because we really have to start owning our own culture.
Yes.
Not imitating and emulating someone else's
Somebody
culture,
else.
which has been designed to sort of extract our energy. So, but I know we have to be out here at 6 o'clock, and Islam. Yeah. So we've got 40 minutes.
Yeah.
But I think we should be cleaned up.
Yeah. Myself in order. So give thanks to everybody being here. Another one in the books. Also we have some DVDs that we'll just put those out. You can leave a donation or whatever, but we'll just put those out. But we do have our 10th anniversary coins that we got created in commemoration of us doing the activity that we're doing in the name of Noble Drew Ali Moorish Science Temple and all that. The coins are $25, and it's just a commemorative piece of Moorish American history out here. So we have that as well. Brother Alfonso, anything else to close up?
Thank you guys. Give yourself a big round of applause for yourself. You never want to feel carried out there to the people. They didn't come today, you didn't come, so we don't want to go out there and yeah.
And then don't forget the ones who are in here to exchange all contact numbers, information, so that this can continue going on, even though we're not quote unquote here.
We'll talk to you a little bit more about some of the stuff that we're looking at doing.
Islam Chat Moors. So we'll just close out, and then before we disperse, we just want to have a quick discussion on some of the things that we're working on, right? And in the will that it would be manifested here as well.
Okay.
So we'll just close out, and we'll just rise and close out.
No, I need to
5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth.
Truth.
Peace.
Peace.
Freedom.
Freedom.
And justice.
And justice.
Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide.
My guide.
And my salvation.
And my salvation.
By night.
By night.
And by day.
And by day.
To His holy prophet.
His holy prophet.
Noble Drew Ali.
Noble Drew Ali.
Islam.
Islam.
Ashir. No, not yet. I'm taking it up right now. All right, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Before everybody starts.